언제든지 내 모습 매직 단 한 번에 내가 잡아 절대 기죽지 않지 펴펴 네가 뭘 알아 괜히 수워서 원해도 원하는 게 얼굴에 보여 I'm trouble and you running it I'm so cold when I move that way you gon' be so blown I'm the realest in the game that I'm a fire with the blade you're a copy in my name ringing in your head like whoa so keep your eyes on me now 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야 I'm so tough let's get it show you out can you feel the rush now ain't nobody bring it up down 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 like the tribe but we're gonna wear the crown you can go another round 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 what you love what you not bringing us down so hard so we get it we go hard we so in it we pop stars only winning now ain't nobody bring us down 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 난 멈추지 않아 we go hard we pop stars ain't nobody bring it up down 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 like the tribe but we're gonna wear the crown you can go another round 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 what you love what you not bringing us down we go hard so we get it we go hard we so in it we pop stars only winning now ain't nobody bringing us down 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 you know who it is coming round again we wanna dose of this right now it's KDA I'm gonna spin a blade 소리처럼 나 이름 잊지 못하게 loud 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 I could take it to the top 절대 멈추지 못해 내가 끝내주는 bag 왜 따뜻하다 oh you know how to react I'ma put your perfect face with the wild in my veins you can hear it in my glow so keep your eyes on me now 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야 닿을 수 없는 level 나와 되길 원한 늘 확신해 We got it all in our hands now So can you handle what we're all about We're so tough, let's get it, show you out Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down Like the tribe, but we're gonna wear the crown You can go another round, 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 round What you love, what you not bringing us down Go hard, so we get it, we go hard We so in it, we pop stars Only winning now Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down You ready for this? Let's go! See, 언제든지 내 모습 매직 단 한 번에 내가 잡아 절대 기죽지 않지 펴펴 네가 뭘 알아 괜히 수워서 원해도 원하는 게 얼굴에 보여 I'm trouble and you running it I'm so cold when I move that way you gon' be so blown I'm the realest in the game that I'm a fire with the blade you're a copy in my name ringing in your head like whoa so keep your eyes on me now 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야 I'm so tough let's get it show you out can you feel the rush again. We wanna dose of this right now. It's KDA. I'm a goddess with a blaze. 소리처럼 나 이름 잊지 못하게 loud, 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 loud. I could take you to the top. 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 bag, yeah, yeah, yeah. 왜 따뜻하 that. Oh, you know how to react. I'm a picture perfect face with that wild in my veins. You can hear it in my glow, glow, glow. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. 달 수 없는 배보. 나와 되길 원한 늘 확신해. We got it all in our hands now. So can you handle what we're all about? What's so tough? Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the ground. You could go another round, 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 round. What you love, but you're not bringing us down. Go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We're so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. You ready for this? Let's go. See, 언제든지 내 모습 매직 단 한 번에 내가 잡아 절대 기죽지 않지. 펴펴 네가 뭘 알아. 이럴 수 없어 원해도 원하는 게 얼굴에 보여. I'm troubling you running it. I'm so cold. When I move that way, you gon' be so blown. I'm the realest in the game. That I'm a fire with the blade. You're about to hear my name ringing in your head like whoa. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. I'm so tough. Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the ground. You could go another round, 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 round. What you love, but you're not bringing us down. Go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We're so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. 난 멈추지 않아. We go hard. We pop stars. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. What you love, but you're not bringing us down. We go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We're so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. You know who it is, coming round again. We wanna dose of this right now. It's KDA. I'm a goddess with a blaze. 소리처럼 나 이름 잊지 못하게 loud, 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 loud. I could take you to the top. 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 bag, yeah, yeah, yeah. 왜 따뜻하 that. Oh, you know how to react. I'm a picture perfect face with that wild in my veins. You can hear it in my glow, glow, glow. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. 달 수 없는 배보.
You did not come through. And y'all are blurry as fuck every time I switch over. Give it a second.
Why am I blurry?
Give it a second while you guys load. I mean, Nia's fine. It's just you and Tali were blurry.
Am I better now?
Yeah, you're fine. I don't know, every time I switch scenes, you guys are blurry at the beginning.
Yikes.
I feel like you're choosing to do this on purpose.
I don't even know how to do that. I'm not that big brain.
You're a streamer. You know how to do
That-
everything,
I don't.
everywhere in the world.
Oh.
You are the epitome of knowledge.
Sure.
Anyways, hi everyone. Welcome to the Sting podcast. We've got our lovely members of Sting, and don't ask why I had a weird pause moment right there. My brain stopped. We have Sakuno,
Hello.
me, Nia, which is me, and Goose.
Hello.
I'm Goose.
And And today we are going to be talking about
Everything.
not everything. We're going to be talking about MMORPGs. Well, I guess what we can start off with is what we define as an MMORPG versus an MMO.
Put it simply,
like silence.
MMORPG is what you think of like classic, like EverQuest, RuneScape, like World of Warcraft. Whereas MMOs is a very broad term which classify things such as like Call of Duty.
Minecraft.
Call of Duty is
Minecraft.
MMO.
That is anything that's basically massive multiplayer, whereas MMORPG is kind of a very specific genre we're looking at.
Where it's a massive multiplayer online role-playing game versus just multi-massive online game. Pretty
I mean,
much
you
is.
could role play in Call of Duty.
I mean,
Those
you
are real
could,
zombies
but
if you wanted
I
to be.
feel like that's not very common though. Why do I? I'm gonna close that.
So yeah, that's the topic. The topic is the MMORPGs. The classic time sinks, the grinds, the live service,
The fashion.
the fashion, the end game.
Who
The
the
end
fuck
game.
played EverQuest? I never played it.
I have.
I guess Tally's the fuck.
Damn.
I mean, not hardcore, but like at least for a few hours.
You've tried it.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So with that being said, just to like clarify what we're going to be actually talking about today. So thank you everyone who chimed in for that. But now we're gonna, what's everyone's first MMORPG?
RuneScape.
You know?
Should we elaborate?
I had to think about it.
I mean,
Sakuno was thinking. That's why they were so quiet.
Tali, if you want to, you can elaborate.
Yeah, RuneScape was like my first because like as a kid, I would always look for games that were free because I didn't have money to buy games as a kid. So RuneScape's free. So I immediately like tried that and fell in love with it. This when I was a little kid.
Gotcha.
I think my first one, I'm looking at our list. I think my first one was MapleStory.
Mine was also MapleStory. I forgot how I even came across MapleStory. I think it was advertised to me through Gaia online. And I found it and I signed up for it. I signed up for the open beta, but I was a child when I signed up. Oh god, I'm confessing to like my first sin. I pretended to be 13. I was 12 at the time. I was
Oh
like,
no.
yeah. So I put in my information wrong on purpose just so I can play.
I'm just waiting for the FBI to knock on the door.
I know. My sins.
We definitely
Forward.
haven't done that before, no.
You
Most of
humans.
I am innocent. What are you talking about?
I had
I'm well above the age of 18, and I still put in just a random birth date in most sign-up things. Was
Steam
I
think-
born in 1965? Probably not, but that's on you to figure out.
That's on you.
Steam thinks I'm like 90 years old.
Man, those infographics or whatever demographics, that's the word.
You said infographics?
Graphics, that's I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
Yeah, I think I started playing MapleStory because of my brother, but the other one that I remember playing a lot of was Ragnarok Online 2. And that was with my
Yeah.
sister.
With the second one?
The second one, yeah.
Oh, I
Not
played
the
the
first
first one.
I never played the first one.
That was another one that was in beta, so I tried it because it was free in beta.
Mhm.
I ended up botting because the drop rate was so low on all the items that were like super needed.
Mm.
I learned how to bot with that though.
Cheater. More sins.
Yeah.
Morsons.
I think Ragnarok Online 2 is the first. I mean, I played MapleStory first, but the game that made me, I guess, fall in love with MMORPGs, it was Ragnarok Online 2, mostly because of the character customization. so good. I liked it.
I think I actually tried that too, but I didn't stick with it. I was too much into the old school Ragnarok Online. Goose, you haven't
Me?
answered.
I have not. For me, is World of Warcraft. Doing
What?
the old like the free beta trial, playing a human, doing the whole like beginning area, and heading over to Westfall. Doing the first dungeon. This was all during Burning Crusade.
That means you were only like 10 minutes away from Goldshire.
Well, yeah, Goldshire's at the beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
I think growing up, I played more handheld games than PC games. And I played majority Pokemon, so I didn't get into MMOs, RPGs, until like way later.
Gotcha. Oh, that just you just reminded me of something. I'll talk about it later.
If you remember.
Well, I can. I don't want to go on a side tangent right now.
Why not? That's like
Okay.
the whole podcast.
Okay. Well, since you mentioned Pokemon, there was a free quote unquote Pokemon MMO. It was literally a ROM hack of Ruby Red and not Ruby Red, Fire Red and Leaf Green. That was ported to PC. Was coded to be an MMO RPG, so you can chat and talk to other people and see other people, like other Pokemon traders. But it was literally
Wait.
it was still just the game.
Wait, I think I know of this.
So you couldn't like do anything with them other than just see them and talk, but it was still a single player game.
Yeah, if I remember correctly.
Interesting.
It was interesting, to say the least. That was like, oh god, I think that was 2012, 2013.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I doubt that it's still up, but it was kind of shady of like how you got in. I don't even remember. I think my friend was like, "Hey, play this with me," and I was like, "What are we doing?"
Breaking the law.
Breaking the law.
breaking so many laws.
It's okay, it's just copyright law.
Yeah.
Who cares about that? Not Nintendo.
Maybe not so much anymore, but they sure did a few years ago.
Once upon a time.
I feel like they still do.
Oh,
It's just
100% they do. It was a joke.
okay. Okay.
They very much care. They will go after you and everything you care about.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, what experience? Obviously, we mentioned a little bit about like our first MMORPGs. But what's everyone's experience with MMORPGs? Like, what games did you guys play, etc.?
The ones I played most were probably Final Fantasy 14, Star Wars Online, Ragnarok, and RuneScape.
I never actually really played a lot of RuneScape at all.
I've never played RuneScape.
Same.
That's okay, I got that covered.
I think out of all our lists, the one I played the most is Final Fantasy 14. There's not a lot on the list that I really played. The only other ones are like Lost Ark, Maple Story. I did play a little bit of Blade and Soul, don't really remember it though.
Everything that we have listed, I played so much Maple Story. That was like that was my personality for all of high school. All of high school and middle school. I played Maple Story. I tried Mabinogi. I couldn't get into it, but I think I was more frustrated as to like I wanted my character to look pretty, and it's really hard to make your character look pretty without, spending money. I also played Elder Scrolls Online. I really enjoyed that game, but I only played it on Xbox with like friends. That was actually really interesting from what I remember, but I don't really remember too much about it. I also really, really played DC Universe Online. that was a fun game. It was, if you've never played it, just think of pretty much you got to choose like your own faction, whether you wanted, and you can make like multiple, I can't remember how many you could actually make, but you could at least make one superhero and one supervillain. So it was the first game that let you play as a good guy or a bad guy. And it was actually really fun. But again, I don't remember too much about it other than like that cool bit about it. I played Terra Online for like a week before it shut down. And then I've tried Phantasy Star Online. I don't like it. I don't like PS2, PSO2. I really liked Maple Story 2, but then that got canceled. And then Guild Wars 2 is also pretty fun. I tried playing it when it first released, but again, dumb teenager brain was like, I hate this. And then I played it last year and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. Have yet to like touch it again.
I've never actually played Guild Wars, even though it's
Same.
supposed to be free.
I have someone gifted me Guild Wars 2, I think. Or Caro gifted me Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
Well, it's free, so what did he gift you?
Did he give an expansion?
I think he gifted me something with it for it. I think like
Must
part of the
Mhm.
I don't think it was an expansion. I think it was like something. I don't know what I was gifted, but I have the game now.
Yeah. And
Maybe he
then...
just sent you a download link.
I think he, yeah, I think he did give me the expansion.
He gifted you knowledge.
Gifted me knowledge, yes.
They're still updating Guild Wars 2.
I've been meaning to play it, but
They just added pistols.
Pistols.
Pistols. Pistole.
A lot of the MMORPG games, unless I've been meaning to play them, but I keep like forgetting to play them. I recognize Life Online. I have it on my
Yeah.
I have it on my tablet.
I love that game back in the day. It was like the first game where you could like fly around.
hmm
It was super cutesy.
Yeah, I've been meaning to play Black Desert, Terra Online. I think Albion too.
I forgot to mention I played Lost Ark. That's how much I liked the game. I forgot. So I played it.
Do you remember what your armor score was by the end of it?
I stopped.
I didn't get very far.
I stopped.
I was
after a
still
while.
like in the very beginning.
When it started being grindy, I kind of lost interest in it, especially since story did really interest me.
Yeah, the story was forgettable.
The story was very forgettable. I got, at the time for what was released, I got into the end game and like the rating and all that, but I wasn't liking the decision that Amazon Games was making. I found it was just hurting the game.
I remember at least getting up to like the second tier of in-game gear. But it requires so many quests.
Many quests.
Yeah, lots to do. Lots to do in that game. It was fun if you like those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty.
I played a Death Blade.
I know I used magic. I forgot what class I was playing as. For most part, I was kind of like button mashing. If it lights up, I press it.
I was just being a ninja,
Yeah.
doing flips.
Nin nin.
Nin, nin.
Nin.
I think for me, well, when I started in Burning Crusade, that was just me like dicking around as a kid. I didn't start actually playing World of Warcraft until the end of Lich King. And that's when I actually started like really playing it. But other than that, I've tried Black Desert. I got very overwhelmed and kind of quit very quickly because there's so many systems like right off the get-go. I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah, I was kind of confused by that too.
Yeah,
I played it through like 20 or so.
I've played Tree of Savior and Ragnarok a little bit with my old girlfriend. But never really more. Oh, and Maple Story 2, but never more than like a couple of hours.
Maple Story 2 is so cute.
No.
It was very cute.
Nah, it was just mostly WoW for me.
I remember there was one I was really excited about. It was Matrix Online.
Oh, Matrix
As a
Online.
kid, like I thought that was so cool. But it failed pretty hard.
It did.
Though, right before
it's
they
pretty
shut
much-
the servers down, they did this thing where like a bunch of eyes appeared in the sky, and like
That's creepy.
I think they started like summoning agents on people and stuff. Until they had like a really big like bang to go out in. And then they started to shut the servers down.
Dead.
And it's gone.
Dead. He's dead. Never coming back.
Dead, never coming back.
Forever. Well, I know there's a game on this list that very much interested Unia that you haven't brought up. Starts with an M.
What?
Mag.
Oh, I mentioned it
Yongi.
before. Mabinogi?
Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mentioned that I played it and that I didn't really like it. I am curious to try playing it again. But then I found out that they're actually doing a huge overhaul of like the graphics. They're gonna put it in in the current Unreal Engine, so Unreal Engine 5, I think. So it's supposed to be a
Oh.
lot prettier. So I don't want to play it or touch it until that is 100% done. Because reasons. I want a pretty game.
I want it to look good,
I want it to look good because like it
which is fair.
the graphics are very, very dated. They were good when it came out in like what was it? 2009, 2010.
When I was old.
But now it looks awful compared to like even 14 looks a lot better than Mabinogi.
I think it's older than 14 though, right?
Yeah, it's older than 14.
I remember trying it. I didn't get very far though, because I remember getting very confused.
I got very confused. That was one of the main draws that a lot of from like I was scouring like the forums about this game because I was trying to get people to play it with me. And someone brought up the mention of an anti-cheat that they have. And I was trying to find like more information about that to like see if it's confirmed anywhere other than, you know, just one Steam review that mentions it. But everybody was talking about like how it's pretty difficult, but it's kind of nice. That there is an end game, but you have to figure out how to access the end game.
Wait, what?
That seems annoying.
Yeah. So
I was really impressed with the mechanic they had in that game where your character could age, and you actually get stats for aging.
yeah. I barely remember it. That all of my other friends that I had introduced to MapleStory, they started playing Mabinogi and loved that, and I tried very hard and I'm like, this isn't MapleStory, I don't like this. So I went back to MapleStory.
Go back to Has Been Hotel or Habbo Hotel. What was that game called?
Habbo Hotel.
Habbo Hotel.
The pool's closed.
Pool is
Pool's
closed.
closed.
They I don't know. I'm just curious because like obviously we've done like a couple of like moments where we're like, yeah, we're gonna play MapleStory, and we play MapleStory, and then we're like, okay, never again, and then we go back to MapleStory. Or just like, want to play Maple? Yeah, let's go.
I think I remember playing with you guys like a couple months back,
Oh god.
but not getting very far.
Yeah, I don't think I got very far on the. I don't remember if I remember that night because of reasons.
Reason.
Of reasons. But I don't remember how far I got in particular. I know I was super late to that. That's for sure. And then I was panicking because it wouldn't install properly.
I remember getting lost, trying to figure out where to go for the job change and shit.
Mm. I guess MapleStory isn't it's something that I would be wanting to like play as a group, but I feel like that would have to have like stipulations on like what you can do, or it's like,
I feel like it's better to play with a group later on.
mm-hmm. But like starting out, if
You're
you
just
wanted to,
grinding.
yeah, starting out, if you want to play all together, it's like you have to either all be just regular normal ass adventurers, or be, what is it, the knights? I can't remember their names.
I don't remember.
Because they're not like a particular like story, like it's a storyline, but it's not like it's so general to where you can like start interacting with like other players a lot sooner than some of like the specific like story characters like heroes and stuff.
Mhm.
Like all the different classes have different cities that they have to go to start their main quests. So it separates the player base pretty well.
Yeah.
I remember like taking forever to find like the elven forest place.
Yeah. I will say I do not miss MapleStory. The grinding was hell. It was awful. I feel like it's a lot easier for certain classes now, but back in the day, oh god, it was so bad.
I think
mean-
I like MapleStory 2 better than I like MapleStory 1.
Wow.
I don't know, it's something about, because MapleStory 1 is like the kind of 2D side scrolly, right?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of like the 3D kind of like chibi thing that MapleStory 2 had going on.
I liked it too. There was so much potential for it. And then I was so mad because like it got canceled after a lot of
Not
people.
a long time, yeah.
No.
Not last long.
It didn't last very long. It was like, we're out of open beta. We're launching the game fully now. And then like, what was it? Maybe 2 months later, they were like, okay, it's closed.
Yeah, it's not popping off the way we want it to.
Oh, I know so many people who were in the same boat as me that had like spent money on the game and were like, what the fuck? Like, really? What? What do you mean you're closed? It was awful. I was very upset because I really liked the customization. I thought it was a lot better. And it was pretty. I liked the areas. It was MapleStory, but in 3D graphics. The story was forgettable though. I don't remember the story at all.
There's a story?
Yeah.
Many of these MMOs, the story takes the back burner for a lot of people, I feel.
Are we talking
Yeah,
about
it's probably more
MapleStory
about
too?
gameplay when it comes to MMOs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But there are some where like the story is definitely worth it. Like the lore in some is just like top notch.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to get into lore in like World of Warcraft, the lore is pretty detailed, pretty deep.
Too bad they killed off all the cool characters.
No.
Yeah, but that's also like evolution of the story too. Like
True.
it also becomes stale if you have characters that just last forever and never die. Look at
No.
you, Dragon Ball Z. Death is an illusion.
I want my heroes to become gods.
God. I guess for like ESO, which is Elder Scrolls Online,
Yes.
depending on where you started, because you have 3 different starting areas. So depending on where you started, either, to me, in my own opinion, I feel like some storylines are more forgettable than others. But I will say it was really, really interesting to like play through, and I miss my werewolf girl. I miss her so much.
One of my favorite things about Elder Scrolls Online is like, if you play any of the other Elder Scrolls games, all the areas from those games are in Elder Scrolls Online. So you can go back to like Morrowind and go to the Shivering Isles, etc.
That's kind of cool. I've heard good things from Elder Scrolls Online.
And like all the levels across the board are all synced to your character level. So you can go anywhere in the world and like everything's your level.
And it be like worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about the drops so much. I didn't play it that much.
The drops are depends.
I remember I made a dark elf caster that I turned into a tank.
A caster tank? Interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't
A
that just a
warcaster.
paladin?
Well, it was actually a dark magic. So, Dark Knight, maybe?
Could be.
Yeah. I wish I could remember. I don't really remember, other than at one point I became a werewolf. I became cursed and became a werewolf. I really loved it. I was like, hell yeah, I love
I forgot about that. I became a vampire. A
Mhm.
friend bit me.
Charlie bit me.
They're
Me and my
like, come over
finger.
to this exact spot in front of this exact statue. Oh, you're a vampire now.
this vampire. I think I became a werewolf because of like the quest line that I was doing. And then my friends were like, if you don't want it, you can just go here and get fixed. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm a werewolf.
I mean, that was one of the coolest things about Skyrim was the werewolf vampire system.
Mhm.
I should try that game.
It-
Eventually. Add it to the list.
Add it
Especially
to
if you
it.
like the older ones.
Added to
Yeah.
the long list of
I'm
games that we need to
pretty-
play.
I'm pretty sure it's free? Question mark. I don't remember. I don't recall.
It's free, but there's in-game content that's locked behind paywalls.
So, kind of standard free to play models then.
Yeah.
And I
Which
do that.
is a good transition to our next question: free to play versus subscription models.
Oh my god. Oh. So. Oh, do you want to go, Tali?
For the longest time, I did play free-to-play games when I was younger, but that's just because I didn't want to pay for anything.
Which is fair.
Well, Final Fantasy 14 and 11 were like the first two that I really like paid a subscription for. And I was like, I realized that subscription services usually end up more polished. At least it feels more polished.
Yeah, it feels like more is available to you as well.
Which makes
And
sense.
then, like,
I find that.
The loot boxes and the free-to-play ones. Oh, I hate them. I hate them. I remember trying so hard to find this black and green dye in Star Wars, but it was in a loot box.
Oh,
Oh no.
Well, like 10 of the loot boxes didn't get anything.
Oh no. Considering that I absolutely loved MapleStory, when I was younger, this was when I was in college. Some of my friends were trying Final Fantasy 14 online. And they were trying to get me to try it too, and so I was asking about them, about the game and everything. And they mentioned that it was a subscription, and I was like, nah, dog, I am not about that subscription life. I'll never play this game. Joke's on me. Other friends got me to try it after I graduated. And I've been hooked. I will say, to kind of like, I don't think I've ever had a game, like a free, none of the ones that I have played other than ESO have ever like had like a paywall for me to like access anything. Not that MapleStory doesn't have a paywall, I feel like it does now. But I never got to that level where you had to like fork over money in order to like access things.
RuneScape's a little like that. It's
Yeah,
like
there's
up
definitely
to a certain point you kind of need a subscription.
there's definitely two different like styles when it comes to free to play services. There's ones that are, off the top of my head, more like Destiny-esque, where it's free to play, but everything is tied behind like the DLCs or additional content. But then you have games where the free to play models like Lost Ark, where everything's available, but a lot of it's a fucking grind.
Yeah.
Or you can spend money to reduce that grind.
Let's put a pin in that for something that's coming up later. Oh, actually, we can talk about it right now.
Are you talking
Oh.
about the microtransactions versus season pass, or
No, I was talking about the thing that's on the side that says
Oh,
Eastern
Eastern
versus
versus-
Western.
Oh yeah.
So
when did that get added to the
During our meeting.
during our meeting, we asked. This,
Yeah.
We
to
definitely
be
talked about it.
fair, the meeting was like two
2
weeks
weeks
ago,
ago.
and I think you were the one who like
I don't know who I
remember.
typed it up, but you guys were the one talking about it.
We were talking about it. So from what I've seen is that more Eastern MMORPGs are the ones that like the free ones are like you have accessibility to everything, whereas the Western ones tend to paywall you.
for
Yeah.
content? Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like Eastern ones, like a lot of Korean games, are very grindy too,
Mhm.
in compared to the Western games.
Yeah.
Like MapleStory and Lost Ark.
Like you're gonna be killing like hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands, of monsters just for one level.
Mhm.
Oh, me having to go to a specific location, a specific room in MapleStory just to like grind out during like 5 levels, and then you go to the next place to grind.
Yeah. You just gotta know the spots.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's all very slow. And very grindy.
Mhm.
I don't mind some of the grinds, but there's some grinds that are just like, all right, let's be real.
Let's be real. Am I going to spend all day trying to find this one specific thing?
Yeah, because some of them like aren't bad if it's like, if it's effort to work towards, because it's like something unique or like something special or like that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But if it's like a grind where it's just monotonous for the sake of being a grind, and like you said, it's like get like 10,000 of these kills or give us $20 and you only need 100. It's like, okay, that's literally just put in place to be scumbag. that doesn't benefit the game. That's just you like basically forcing us to pay money. And that's why I don't like with a lot of mobile games, because mobile games do that with like energy systems. It's like, oh, you want to play the game? Buy energy. No. I want to buy energy.
Buy the
I wonder what was the
energy.
first game that really introduced the energy system. I feel like it's a mobile game of some type.
It's usually mobile games.
I hate that system. It's like I liking the game. I want to play the game. Like if I'm liking the game and I want to play a bunch of it, I'll like fork over like the however much to like disable ads or like that kind of thing. But if you're being like, nah, you need to buy more energy and you can only do like 4 things a day. It's like, oh, I'm not. Oh, you're not touching me.
Yeah, that sounds like a mobile game turned into.
I mean, Genshin has it, but Genshin's not a MMORPG.
Mm-mm.
Genshin has a lot of like the Hoyoverse games have it. Hoyo games.
Yeah.
All of the all gacha games have that system.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how they
Sorry.
gotcha. I hate this.
I hate it.
I hate it. I hate
hate
it.
it.
I'm gonna go in timeout now. Goodbye. Yeah.
All right. Well, what's next?
Oh, microtransactions versus season passes.
Oh,
Yeah, we're kind of going into that.
yeah.
A little
We
bit,
started
yeah.
A little bit. Microtransactions. What would you guys classify as microtransactions? Because like, I'm trying to think of like.
Things outside of the subscription service that may be cosmetic, maybe gear, maybe dye, mounts.
Etc.
Yeah,
Pretty much cosmetics, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Just anything
Well,
outside of
I would.
the standard pay model.
Yeah, pretty much. So like for Final Fantasy, it'd be like the dyes, the mounts, the that
Emotes.
kind of thing. For like Lost Ark, it'd be all the like the reduced grind and other like materials that you normally farm.
Like the
Cosmetics too.
pets and stuff.
Yeah.
As long
And,
as they
like-
don't do it in loot boxes.
Oh God.
Which,
Wait a
but
second.
loot boxes would be a microtransaction item.
Yes.
They are. I think depending on what they are, if I
You want to
don't
think about this and then come back to it?
know, I'm trying to like I'm trying to word it in a way to where people can actually understand what I'm trying to say. I've only heard this once by people who, because I've never played World of Warcraft like at all. I've never played WoW. So I've only heard of certain things where like if you spend real money, you get mounts that give you an advantage
No.
in game.
So I think there was something similar once upon a time where, because I think one of the mounts had like 2-person riding, so someone else can like hop on with you and like ride with you. But that would probably be the closest example I can think of what you're trying to say.
Okay. Because like all I remember is like a passing like conversation that I was just listening in on because it was happening in the call that I was in. But it was also like 2 years ago when I heard that. So if I would say microtransactions in order to get like ahead of pretty much paying to win. I hate microtransactions for that reason. But
Agreed.
if it's for like something that like it's 100% optional. It's only like mainly cosmetics. I kind of have to be for it because I'm also that demographic that does spend real money for pretty things, especially if it's permanent. If
if it's temporary, no go.
temporary, no, 100% no, and I hated MapleStory for that. But they have the random loot boxes that is permanent items, like cosmetic items, and you can have those. I'm all for that. That's the only like loot box that I will be like, okay, this is fine. I can do something with this. But if it's temporary, no. If it's something to get, again, if it's pay to win, I don't agree with microtransactions.
Okay, so I got a question. So Final Fantasy 14, did you know that if you buy Cloud's bike, it gives you mount speed automatically?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have that. Did you know that the Shiba also has that too?
Oh yeah, the Shiba too.
Yeah,
I
the
forgot about that
Shiba
one.
is just as fast as Cloud's bike.
I don't really consider that pay to win. Similar how with like the World of Warcraft thing, the mount technically isn't really a pay to win thing because
It
it's
just
just a
lowers the grind.
2% mount. Yeah, it's
You
not
get
really,
to your
you don't really
destination
need a
2
2%
seconds
mount.
faster.
Like, yeah.
Are you sure about that? I definitely need a 2% out. Definitely.
mean,
Well,
there's
there's
definitely a
other
lot of
there's other
walking around.
methods to get it, and I think at the time when they first introduced it, because there was the first like 2% mount that they really introduced was with the refer a friend system.
Yeah.
And that kind of pissed people off a little bit because like you had to refer a friend and they basically buy the subscription and play for 6 months. And because it was like after 1 month you got this thing, after 2 months you got this thing, and then the big final reward at the end of it was a 2% mount, which
Now
was like a obsidian like winged panther that you like turned into. So it's kind of neat.
what? In 14?
No, in World of Warcraft.
Oh.
Warcraft.
I was like, what? I don't remember this mount.
No. I mean, to be fair, 14 does have its own like refer a friends mounts, which I still don't understand how to like get that mount.
You need the special gold feathers, and once you get enough of them, you cash them in. And that's how you get the, what is it, Titania?
Twintania, the
Twintania.
Drought Chocobo. There's a few other things.
I thought it was
Yeah.
the 2-seater chocobo because there's one
Yeah, the
that
Drought.
yeah.
That's the Drought
Yeah.
Chocobo.
There's a bunch of stuff you can. That's a different. World of Warcraft, you got rewards. With Final Fantasy, you got like a currency to choose what you want to get.
So thinking about it now, the first 2-seater mount I got was actually from Eternal Bonding.
Yeah.
Mine was the fat chocobo, not the fat chocobo, the fat Mugo.
Oh, the Fat
yeah,
Moog was super cute.
The Fat Mule was my first 2-seater, but that was also because I had a significant other when I started playing. So, and we were playing the game together, and it just made it easier just to do quests like traveling.
Yeah. It's definitely a fun game to play with a partner.
Yes. Are you guys excited for Dawn Trail that's coming out in like a little over a month?
In a month?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have to put in my code. Poor Goose. I said that I would pay for a sub for you.
No, don't.
I am still doing that.
No, don't.
Unless
I
you
have
don't
not.
want
I'm
to.
not.
Drag 'em.
I don't have
Drag
it.
'em.
I'm not planning on getting it anytime soon because I don't have the funds for it. So, and I definitely don't want anyone to buy the expansion for me.
Sting plays Final Fantasy 14. Let's go.
Whenever
Whenever that is.
Whenever that is.
Just
I
do
want-
the free trial. We'll do Stormblood content.
Yeah, we can just
Yeah.
we can all just start all over. Start from the beginning.
Oh my god.
I do have the emails for more.
Fresh new characters on a new server, and we'll all be
Yeah.
summoners, and we'll have our
Oh
little
god.
carbuncle pets.
Yeah.
I'll be
have you
the scholar.
They'll be the
You'll be the
scholar.
No,
scholar. Oh.
I can't be scholar.
I mean, if we're starting the area, you can also be the
We're starting
what is
with still.
rogue. Is it start off with, or
No, you don't start with rogue. You
it
start
turns
off
into
with...
ninja? I just forget what it.
It
It's
is
rogue.
rogue.
It is rogue?
but
It is rogue. Okay.
That's not the one of the ones you start off with.
It's not one that you can start off
You
with.
can
Oh.
be a
But you,
Well, you can get
you.
it pretty much right away once you get into Limsa, though.
yeah.
yeah, once you hit a certain part in the MSQ that allows you to swap classes, you can pick up rogue, but it starts at level 1, so you have to regrind.
What are it's
It is
scholar
it-
/ summoner.
It's Arcanist. It is Marauder. It is
Marauder, that's right. Ooh, I could be Marauder. I like Marauder.
You like Marauder?
I like
I like Warrior. Warrior is such a good tank.
I don't know how to play warrior.
Oh, then you can be summoner.
I
Yeah,
can,
I can.
I survived. That's all.
What's the
What-
other
what-
one that starts in Marshall?
And I'm so.
I mean, when I played, I mostly played healer. I was astrologian for my main, or sage.
I
don't
I
remember
started
which ones.
I started off as an Arcanist, and then I swapped to White Mage
And-
because people that I was playing with, I did not like my two friends fighting. My tank and my quote unquote healer friend were always fighting because my tank friend was always afraid of like what my healer friend was doing, which was letting my tank friend get super low and then depending solely on
addiction.
the fairy to heal.
I mean, at low level, you really can get away with that.
You can, but
Sometimes.
there were moments where literally our tank friend was on the floor, and these were people that were already playing. And I was like, nope, I'm tired of this. So I picked up White Mage, and I never went back.
Sounds familiar.
Well, Final Fantasy aside, what are opinions on season passes then compared to microtransaction? This also includes like how most season passes have like a free track and then a premium track.
Okay, so I'm not too familiar with like season passes for any of the MMOs that I've experienced. The only season passes that I'm used to are in like Overwatch or Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is technically not an MMORPG for some reason. It's like a pseudo one.
It's a gray area.
Yeah, it's a very odd gray area. So like I'm not too sure about like season passes. I guess same difference of like as long as it's not like pay to win, it's fine? Question mark.
I don't think
Do
I really
you
ever done
wish?
season passes.
Do you think your like Final Fantasy could benefit from some sort of like season pass?
No,
and-
absolutely not. Not with
Because
like
I think technically the PvP has a season pass.
the
in Final
PvP
Fantasy.
has the season. Well, it's people said that it's like a battle pass, but it's 100% free. Everybody can access it, and
Yeah.
you get all the same rewards from it. It's just you have to play Crystalline Conflict in order to like get. I think it's just Crystalline Conflict. But you have to do PvP content in order to get it. Which that's fair. Like if you want to like play that content, you get rewarded for it. That's
Mhm.
that's 100% fair. But there's not like, it's all cosmetic. It's like you get an emote, you get uh glamour
Now,
pieces, you get a mount.
Basically, battle pass, season pass is basically the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And then you get the currency in order to, like, buy more like cosmetic items from like the PvP store specifically for those for that currency. Oh my god. I forgot the word currency. So I would say not really, like, to like say like a battle pass or a season pass for like 14 overall. No. But there would be no real benefit to it.
yeah, there's that idea of like a FOMO, the concept of FOMO,
Mhm.
where it's like
Like a what?
if you don't dedicate yourself to this right now, you're gonna miss out.
That's what I don't like about certain season passes is the limiting factor of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm not a fan. So like surprisingly enough, um Minecraft Dungeons, which I know Sakuno you're familiar with,
Yes.
their season passes, you can choose which one you want to work towards at any point.
Mhm.
So if you finish one, you can be like, oh, I want to try doing this old one. Whereas like what Nia said with like Destiny 2, if you miss out on that season, you just miss out on all that stuff and it'll either go into the microtransaction store or you'll just never see it again.
Mhm.
So I definitely like the way that, surprisingly enough, Minecraft Dungeons does it, where it's just kind of always accessible to you as just content for the game. And there is still premium and unpremium as well. And I guess Helldivers 2 actually does a similar system as well with their war bond systems. You have to pay for a premium track, but it's always accessible to you. It doesn't go away.
I mean, that would be kind of cool if a function that way. But again, the only games that I'm used to like a season pass being a thing are games that technically are not MMORPGs.
Yeah.
It's mainly more of like the microtransactions that I've seen.
I definitely like it more when also the rewards and stuff are cosmetic and just like here's more like game resources to help for the grind, like all that kind of thing. Like I don't think it should ever be like if you don't have the season pass then you miss out. Because then that just kind of turns into like a pay to win.
Yeah, I mean, it can be considered pay to win by just getting upgrade materials from a season pass. It's like you could get that stuff in game, but you get it faster if you just pay a little bit of money. I definitely like the subscription model with like microtransactions for cosmetics on top of that. I think that's probably the best method.
I think yeah.
Sorry, which one?
Uh, like Final Fantasy 14, where you got a subscription, but you also have microtransactions if you want to get more cosmetics.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
some of that stuff is actually priced a little bit too high, but
Yeah, there's certain things. I kind of like it too. However, I will always be a sucker for a free to play, like 100% free to play game with microtransactions. Again, um, only for, cosmetics.
That's
Cosmetic
fine.
purposes.
So you're saying you wish that like the store had like some sort of like grindable currency, or you can pay money to buy that currency to purchase the
Who are you talking to?
you.
Me?
Yeah. So you're saying that you wish that you could get all those cosmetics by also accessing them in game, but then would that just get rid of the microtransaction store, or are you like also saying that there should be like a premium currency?
Okay. Yes. Yes to everything. This is just me saying I
Yes.
really want MapleStory, but in other because MapleStory does that. They have if you don't want to use like real money, obviously real money is like the easiest way to like get the currency in order to purchase the cosmetic items. If you don't want to do that, you can do it's a huge grind, but you can earn the currency in game. But again, it's a huge grind that only certain people are able to like handle. But it's still accessible, and it still can be considered 100% free.
I actually did that for Star Wars Online, or Star Wars The Old Republic. If you craft in that game, you can sell stuff on the market board and then use that money to buy yourself a subscription. So it's like you can use the in-game money to get the pay-to-win stuff. It's just you gotta grind a little bit more. It was like mostly all loot boxes for that though, microtransaction-wise. I think they called them cartel boxes.
Cartel.
As in they were smuggled.
Of course they would be. I will say I do really like how the Final Fantasy XIV online store has the special dyes in the store. I think that's neat because they're super expensive in game if you want to try to find them yourself.
Yeah.
Because they are very rare, but it's a very good option if you really want a specific dye and you can't afford it in
So
game.
Here's one microtransaction that I commonly see in games, and that's skip potions, skip books. Any way to like immediately put yourself at like in game.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
It's like they're a thing. It's like you can buy them, but I don't know if I agree with them. I feel like because of the fact that like you wouldn't know how to play the class at least for 10, 20, 30 hours of play.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. But I will say for like I am okay with them existing mainly for like if you want to have an alternative character, like an alt character, and you don't want to go through the same story and you just want to be at the latest like expansion story, they're a good option.
I agree with you there.
Am I, as someone who has bought like level skips for classes that I have never really played, I am definitely I did have to spend a good amount of time to actually learn how to play classes.
Yeah. But you do that on your main character usually.
Yeah, you do it on your main character, or whatever.
Or like refresh yourself on the alt.
Hmm.
Because it's like, it may be a class you've played before, but it may not be like your best.
Yeah.
Like for my EU character, I was playing Black Mage instead of White Mage.
Hmm.
I must say, compared to World of Warcraft, I do appreciate Final Fantasy system with how like you can be any class.
Oh yeah, that's another.
Because with World of Warcraft, if you wanted to like, I don't want to be a warrior anymore. I want to try like paladin. It's a completely different character with like completely its own set of achievements and like all that kind of thing. Like you're starting fresh,
Hmm.
and that makes it much more of a grind as well
Yeah.
because you have to redo all of that content again.
Yeah. I think that's what makes Final Fantasy 14 very special,
Mhm.
because majority of MMOs will tell you, "Oh, you want to play this other class? Well, you have to start from the very beginning. Start fresh.
You know all that progress you just
Start
made?
fresh." Huh?
All that progress you just made? Do it again.
Do it again.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I go in because with World of Warcraft, I was like progression rating and like all that kind of thing. Like, it was basically like a job. And so after getting burnt out on that and then switching to Final Fantasy's like class system was a breath of fresh air.
Hmm. I think that was like the biggest draw to me after trying it for the first time, was just being able to just quickly swap. I don't have to make a brand new character
Mm-hmm.
just to try a different class.
That is one really good thing about Final Fantasy. Because a lot of times when you're doing like main story, you'll outlevel the main story. But in Final Fantasy, you can just switch to a different class, level that,
Yeah.
get that to the main story, and then level 2 classes at the same time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, you can't really do that in like WoW or any other game where you're kind of locked into your class. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's all I had to say on microtransactions and experiences.
Yeah.
Unless something else pops into my mind.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
Nope.
Okay.
Now we're gonna get into the sensitive topics, especially for the Final Fantasy community.
Oh god, this is so sensitive. So we've got modded versus add-ons.
So there's like add-ons like, you know, ACT. I'm sure WoW has a bunch of add-ons too, other than ACT.
Yeah, so when the distinction that WoW uses for its like terms of service basically is add-ons add on where mods modify game files. So mods are usually more done to like gain an edge or like completely change things, where
Cosmetic.
add-ons are more quality of life, like they don't really affect gameplay.
There's certain add-ons that can elevate your play, but it also makes it unfair toward like people not using them.
100%. There's definitely like for World of Warcraft, one of them would be kind of considered like weak auroras, where it like highlights certain abilities and stuff.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Like Final Fantasy has something kind of like that. It's called Alexander, where
Yes.
if you press the button, it will immediately use that skill when available without losing any GDC cooldown, which is like humanly impossible to do.
Does it press the button for you, or
I mean, you have to queue up the button. You know how Final Fantasy, you press the button and it doesn't activate immediately? You queue it up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like turn-based
does it
almost.
add almost like an automation to it, so you can like have multiple things queued up?
Yeah. Final Fantasy, you can only have like 1 or 2 abilities queued up at once. But Alexander sets it up where like you press that button and the queue is pretty much like expedited. Rather than when you press the button, it'll do it early.
Once it starts getting to like kind of more automated stuff like that, that's where I find it starts getting close to like.
It also like tries to like eliminate latency, because like the time between you and the server, your command getting to the server and then back to you, there's add-ons like Alexander to fix that.
Yeah, that's for me where it like draws the line. If it like almost starts to feel cheaty, where it's like that you shouldn't have that kind of edge.
And there's also like
Add-ons,
ACT
there's, like-
where it tells you what to do during fights.
Oh god. I don't like any of these.
I mean, it's pretty much the
Nah.
same as having someone do callouts, but you can mess up callouts. You can say the wrong thing.
Yeah. I will say in Alexander, for specifically that program, if it's latency, I can kind of understand, but everything else that was described, that's more of like a too automated, where it's like, are you really playing the game at that point?
Yeah.
But that's to my understanding based off of what you've described.
A lot of people will use macros in conjunction with Alexander, so the game pretty much plays itself.
Yeah, that's too much.
That's just lazy.
That to me is kind of cheating. Like that
Yeah,
that's too much. Like having something that like what's one for Final Fantasy? Like the cooldown timer is like a big number instead of like little numbers. Like those are tiny like quality of life tweaks.
Yeah.
Like that to me is more of like an accessibility thing, but this Alexander thing just sounds too much to me.
I know that there was I think it's part of ACT where it's Cactbot for callouts. That's okay, as long as it's like saying like, oh, it's this attack, for like people who are like either by themselves and not in a call for said callouts that need that to hear. That I'm okay with. But again, if it's like pretty much automation where like the game is like doing everything on its own without you like needing to do everything that you should be doing, that's too much.
That's where the fine line is. Because some add-ons are very much quality of life or accessibility, and those ones I support. But if it's anything that kind of would turn the community kind of like toxic, that's where it kind of becomes too much. And that kind of goes in a little bit to like the DPS trackers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they'll just like kick people out of party just because they don't have any good parses.
Yeah. In World of Warcraft, they used to have a problem with it actually they ended up turning it to be a part of the game, but it was like a gear score add-on, so they would weigh certain parts of your gear and give you a gear score. So if you're under a certain amount of gear score, then you're considered like too low level to do that content, like you weren't geared up.
And it's like,
but then they actually made that a part of the game as the way to like track, like, even though for end game content, you're like, if you're a fresh max level, you're not ready to go do the raid yet because you're still wearing like weak gear, basically.
There's also the fact of like, for those websites that store the DPS tracking, store the logs and stuff, a lot of the people on the top of the list on the leaderboards, they're all of them are using add-ons.
They ain't legit.
So it's like, it becomes a little bit like, are we on a level playing field?
No.
Nope.
Oh, definitely not. I'm sitting here being like, I've been yelled at. I've been harassed in PF
Oh yeah.
because I don't have these fucking plugins. Fuck you guys.
I don't care about those
I-
plugins.
I like never PF just because I just don't like people in general.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, I used to do a lot of Party Fighter, yeah. I remember being scolded for not using the cleanse on my bard.
On your bar. Wait. I'm sorry. On your bard.
I was playing bard,
Oh.
and warrior was like, "Why don't you cleanse my pacify?" I'm like, I can do
Be-
that, huh?
What?
Well, technically, it's the healer's job to do that. You should be doing your DPS.
No, this guy was very adamant that it was the bard's job to do it. Back in like Gortys or one of the Alexanders. That was my first foray into savage raiding.
As someone who used to progressive raid, if your class has utility that can help with the like content, you should use that utility for that content. And I swear to God, this just goes for everyone in general. Read your goddamn tooltips. Like, if you don't understand your abilities, that's on you.
Yeah.
What is
it's on-
reading? I don't know what my skills do.
Yeah, but how easy is it to tell somebody, hey, you're playing your character wrong, you're playing your class wrong, you got to do it this way? Nobody's gonna react kindly to that.
I don't care.
No.
I don't care what you say. I play how I want.
And unless they're actively asking, hey, what can I do better?
Yeah.
Then like,
Or like, hey, like the healers are struggling, can we try this strategy? Because
mhm.
that's more of like a suggestion versus like you're doing it wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that like the whole MMO community as a whole could eventually get better on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be more team friendly and constructive versus hostile and elitist.
Mhm.
No, you're probably always gonna have that kind of thing. Especially if there's PvP. Or
PvP.
any type of leaderboard competition.
Even without that, just any sort of like higher end game like content that requires a little bit more than just like casual playing.
Ultimates.
Yeah,
Ultimate readers.
because they're and this yeah, it might be an elitist thought, like I'll admit, but if you're interested in doing that harder content, you should commit to learning that harder content,
Yeah.
because it does it other people's time as well. If you're like, let's say like, I don't know, like a carry, or you're like going in blind and you don't do any of your research to like look up the fights or learn your class or you're just very under geared for what you're trying to set up for.
Mhm.
Because like time, other people have time too. Like
Yeah. Let's put a pin in that because that's actually another topic.
we're so close to it though.
I know we're
So
very
close.
close to it.
So close.
What do we feel? What are people's thoughts on like mods? Other things.
I think the only
be-
the only mod stuff I've done was very limited Minecraft. That's the only thing modded I've done. Oh,
That's
except for Lethal Company.
Yeah,
That's different.
that's different.
Those are the
I'm
only stuff I have mods for.
I would say for like, I don't really do this I don't really do this anymore, but like I did get into modding for 14 just to
In-
see for like just for like cosmetic things, not like anything, no add-ons to like, you know, boost my DPS or my uptime or whatever. But
I am personally fine with that because that's all client side. That doesn't hurt anyone. That doesn't give you an edge over other people.
Mhm.
That's just completely like your own thing.
yeah.
I
I'm,
personally am okay with that.
I'm pretty okay with it too. Like, what it's kind of like what you do in your own home. It's kind of your own business.
Yeah.
You know, pay my sub.
I will
But-
say this Final Fantasy 14 is the only MMO that I've ever done this for. I didn't even know it was a thing until people were like, "This is what my character looks like" on Twitter, and I'm just like, "What is that?"
Who
How-
are these people?
How do you get?
How to get?
I mean, some of those mods make G posing like a million times better, so you can get so much better pictures
Mhm.
quality
Mhm.
between like shaders, and there's different mods like pose your different character.
Mhm, mhm.
And of course the cosmetic mods on top of that.
Yeah.
There's also a few that Final Fantasy is actually surprisingly big modding community. Like, there's so many
That
different types
doesn't
of mods.
exist. Wink.
Yeah, it's kind of like a hush hush thing, like don't ask, don't tell. It's like only when you like straight up like show off your mods in a public place, then it becomes a little like, kind of stepping over a boundary.
Yeah.
Like the billboard thing that caused a bunch of drama. Or they
That was-
made some summer beach bash or something. There was
we
like
can
a
talk
modded
about
pop.
That's where I'm kind of like, I feel weird when it comes to Final Fantasy and its attitude towards like add-on and mods, because I know they have like a no nonsense policy because they don't want to be in that position to say like, oh, this is okay, this isn't, this isn't. But they kind of already do that, because like you look in the cosmetic shop, there's stuff for songbirds custom created, which all the songbirds technically break by using a mod, being the Bard music player.
what?
There's add-ons to make you play music better. Or performance.
Yeah, which the songbirds uses, which is against the terms of service. However, the
Song-
Final Fantasy, they have in the store endorsing songbird emotes and
but
outfits and stuff.
but the songbird emotes came out before the group the Songbirds
Mhm.
became a thing.
Did it?
Yes. So it's
I
an
have
actual
been lied to.
Yeah, so it's an
I am newer to
actual-
Final Fantasy compared to everyone else. I
Yeah.
only started like I started a couple months before the great WoW migration that people called it. I came over a couple months before that.
So that entire set, actually, if I never played during that time. I think
I did.
was it for a Little Ladies Day
Yes,
outfit?
it was
Yeah.
Little Ladies' Day.
Including the Songbird emotes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can get them for free if you played on that Little Ladies' Day.
Why did the Little Ladies Day have rave emotes?
Because a lot of Little Lady Day events are about this group of people called the Songbirds who go to different cities and perform, dance, sing. And there's like 3 characters. And they show up every Little Ladies Day now.
I feel absolutely betrayed right now. I was lied to.
Wait, who lied to you?
Some people in my old clan or free company or whatever it's called. I forget. It's been a while.
Yeah, free company. But yeah, that's oh boy, that just a clarification. Just wanted to like make sure that you
No,
understood.
I
When
was bamboozled.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, wait a second. No, wait, no, that's wrong.
Fine.
Oh, no, yeah. The group that you're talking about was inspired by that, but
Oh no, yeah, I pieced
Yeah.
that part together now.
yeah,
I just feel absolutely just like
betrayed.
betrayed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That also goes back to like the modding, or not modding, but microtransactions, where a lot of the stuff on the store or mod station, a lot of that stuff is free if you play during those events. But
Yeah.
once those events are over, they'll put them on the mod station like 2 years later.
Pretty much.
Like a year later.
Cause I've seen some Valentine's Day stuff that were free during the event, and then I see them on a mock station now.
And I think it goes back to like having it be accessible, where like yes, it was exclusive like a year ago during an event, but for people who either are brand new to the game and they want those items, or like maybe you missed out on that event, it's kind of nice to be able to still access those items.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like being able to like purchase past event items, it gives people an option.
Yeah, I will say, and I don't know if you had like this is where you were going with it, Tally. I feel like it should be accessible in game and not, pay real money for. Like it should be like, hey, pay with, your in-game currency to get this item from last year.
Yeah, there's also the side of it where like people will buy stuff off the like in-game store and put it on the market. I mean, you can't do that for Final Fantasy because everything is account bound. But there's a lot of other games where you can. Where you can just put stuff from the microtransaction onto the player store or something, and other people buy it for in-game money. That kind of thing.
Me thinking, I'm like, I've done that before.
I mean, I've done it before too.
Yeah.
Well, keep us going. How's your feelings about PvP versus PvE content?
I hate. Sorry to like jump in. I'm like, I really hate PvP content.
Same.
I am not good at it, therefore I hate it, and I'm always the person that's picked on, so I feel even worse because my team is just yelling at me the entire time. So I opt out of PvP 100%. And I'm just like, nope, I cannot do that.
If you ever played healer in PvP, you were the first one that everyone would attack.
Yeah.
You were the first one to take blame if anybody dies. So playing healer in PvP is very, very like treading a line. Like, you fall off and people might get upset.
It definitely, I like the stance that Final Fantasy does, where PvP abilities and everything is completely separate, and it makes it easier to balance. Because a lot of other MMOs, it just throws you in there with everything you have. Like, you have the same kit you do PvE as you do PvP.
It actually used to be like that in 14.
Did
It
it?
used to be, yeah, back in those days, you could not kill healers at all because they would out heal any damage.
Yeah, I like the system that they have in place now. I think that's a system that a lot of other games should model after.
Though I kind of miss like dueling people and then like using fluid aura to push them out of bounds. Because you can't kill anybody as a healer, but you surely can't die either. So if you ring out, you win. As for like PvP versus PvE, I have played a lot of different games that have PvP servers, like Star Wars Online. I played on a RP PvP server, and it was kind of impressive how much effort these people put into their characters. Like, they would write full descriptions about it just so they can go and fight like a Jedi or something.
Yeah, I hear Star Wars has a lot of RPers. How have you guys ever played any like world PvP type games like what Tali just mentioned?
Yeah, Star Wars was like that. WoW is too, where it's like people from different factions can come over to your region and just kill you.
Yep.
That
Which
adds a
can
bit of
be-
excitement. Like, I remember there was times where I was like leveling in Star Wars, and there would just be like a Jedi show up out of nowhere and try to kill me. They were very persistent.
In World of Warcraft, it could be very aggravating if you had some like max level person going into the starter zone and just killing all the low level people.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember like messaging. I joined a guild. I messaged the guild like, "Hey, there's a Jedi over here," and I swear there was like 5 different in-game people who showed up to kill him. It was
Oh
kind of
yeah, it
amusing.
does kind of add that also, like people all of a sudden, like there's now a protective party that will go after like the one guy who's just trying to like hide in the shadows and kill whatever low guy, and then all of a sudden like 30 max level of your own guys start chasing him away.
That stuff was always kind of like exciting, thrilling.
In World of Warcraft, because it has 2 factions, there's some fun memories with doing like capital city raids.
Oh
So
yeah.
basically you could raid another capital city, like the central hub, and there is like achievements and stuff for like killing the other faction city's leader. So it was basically like a raid on its own, with all the city guards and all the other like people that are dying and like coming back to life.
I always thought that kind of thing was kind of cool, where it's like you can kill the guards, but you have to be like in game.
There's a fun achievement in World of Warcraft during Christmas. There's the little like toy gun, like a BB gun that you can get, and there's an achievement for shooting every opposing faction leader with the BB gun. So you basically had to go in and either like stealth in somehow, or be a part of one of these like big raids that were put together just so people can shoot the leading faction leader with a little toy gun. Not even kill him, just you would shoot it and run away.
Because they would kick your ass.
Yep. Those are like a fun, silly achievement.
But yeah, that's the kind of thing that you lose when you move away from PvP into like a PvP only type game. It's a different type of feel for sure. Probably more relaxed when it's like PvE, because you don't have to worry about people showing up to kill you.
Oh, 100%.
Uh-huh.
When I did World of Warcraft, I played on PvE servers just because it would be really annoying, especially in the later expansions where there wasn't really like our zone and their zone. They're like mixed, so they could just be there questing as well and go into the same quest NPC, but they just start attacking you because you're there as well. And it's just like, oh, come on, I'm just trying to get the quest line done.
I always thought that RuneScape did an interesting way on the PvP PvE thing, where it's just like all the beginning areas, they're PvE, but once you get up to a certain point, you start going toward this area called the Wilderness, which is set up so anybody can attack anybody in the wilderness. So going out into the wilderness, you're basically risking everything you own.
World of Warcraft ended up imposing this system called War Mode. So you would get benefits for having War Mode on, including increased experience gain and stuff for if you're like trying to level, but you're also enabling PvP so you can be a target. So in those cross-faction areas, you could put on War Mode and like make bank and get those benefits, but at the same time you risk like having people go after you. So they kind of made like a risk and reward system to it.
There's also a couple MMOs I played back in the day, MMORPGs back in the day, where they'll have this system where if you kill somebody, your name will like turn like red or orange.
Oh.
And like the more people you kill, it gets like darker. And you become like like people put a bounty on your head basically, or the game puts a bounty on your head.
Isn't that like
people will start
SSL?
hunting for you.
Isn't that the concept in SAO?
I don't know.
Because if you kill one another, your name turns a different color.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that was like the first arc, first season. It didn't show it very much.
I always thought that was a cool system.
World of Warcraft, that technically was or is the system in PvE servers. If you do enable PvP, then your name becomes red instead of yellow. But you have to like opt into it on that point. Like you're basically being like, I am PvPing kind of thing. Which sucks because some people would set it because you can, even if they're yellow, you can still technically accidentally target them in certain means. So people would try and like purposely get hit to turn them red, and then they now have PvP enabled, and it's enabled by default for like 5 minutes, so they can't turn it off unless they like run away and hide.
Yeah.
To avoid just people like almost dying and then turning off PvP and having no consequence.
Mm-hmm.
You have to like, once PvP is on, it has a cooldown before you can turn it off.
There was also one I played, I think it was like Conquer Online or something, where there was, you could hunt these people and then your name would change to either blue or green, depending on how many like criminals you killed, how many bounties you've taken. I thought that was kind of a cool system too. And so you can kind of like show off that you're the protector. It creates like an interesting niche for a group of people to go for that content.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for everybody, but it's something. It's like another like level onto the gameplay. Where if you want to play this way, you can. But like when you switch over to like pure PvE, you kind of lose all of that.
Well, speaking of pure PvE, to go to our next point, it sounds like Nia and Sakuno, you guys don't really have much PvP experience. So, what's your PvE experience and like rating and endgame content?
I mean, I don't have that much experience. That too much experience with rating. I only did it for like a couple months, and then I stopped. Or
Did you
no,
do more like the casual stuff, or did you get into any like serious, like more progressive, like for Final Fantasy Ultimates versus just?
I never did ultimates. I only did Savage raids. Well, actually, I did for a year.
Well, Savage is still pretty good.
I did the most I've done is Savage and Extremes. That's all I've done.
Extremes is also Extremes is still considered like up there.
Yeah.
If you do them on content, I would say.
Yeah, on
Yes,
release
on
they are
content.
kind of difficult.
Yeah.
We're talking about PvE, right?
Yes.
Yes, we are moving on to
Yeah.
PvE. Thanks
PvE,
for coming out.
but rating experience. Well, obviously because I don't enjoy PvP, I do like the PvE experience. I like having like access to like harder content for PvE, like as we mentioned, like the extremes in Final Fantasy, as well as like ultimate raids and savage raids. Those I think it's great to have that, especially for like people who want to like challenge themselves. I have tried to do savage raiding and I can do it. I just feel slightly discouraged by the community because of like the add-ons that they use. So I feel like I'm always not going to be up to snuff, even though I'm literally a healer and healing, but apparently not doing good DPS, which baffles me. I have to be better somehow.
It's understandable that healers aren't top DPS, but it's very questionable if healers' DPS are higher than the actual DPS.
Apparently, I need to have an orange parse, or I am not good enough.
That sounds like a toxic individual versus like something that's more wrong with like rating or PvE content in general.
Yeah. But I would say
that just sounds like honestly a piece of shit. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Even in like my experience with like progressive rating, where we're trying to get like server first and like that kind of thing, it like that just sounds like a piece of shit person. Like
no, yeah. I don't know. I do like rating. Obviously I put like for my own experience, I put a lot of pressure on myself first. Which is just something that I do.
With rating with you in other games? Yep, you do.
But like if I have someone who can teach me, and like I really enjoyed I want to say my first on content, like actually on content, like I was doing this at like the item level for the extreme. my first experience doing on-content rating was Emerald Weapon Extreme in Final Fantasy XIV. That was really fun to learn, especially since the people who were teaching me became my friends. So it was nice to do that, and then they taught me how to do rating, and they taught me like all about how I need to have my gear melded so I can actually perform better and hit harder.
Yeah.
Heal better. So I have tried to do rating with like multiple different groups. It either falls apart because like something's not clicking, or I put too much pressure on myself. So I'm just like, nope, I'm not up to snuff. I need to go. But it was fun. It's fun, like learning, like as you mentioned, Goose, like the rating experience. Like if you are wanting to commit to that, you fully commit to it. I have gone into I've gone into UCOB. I didn't clear it. But we went in there just to like do a little fun, like try to figure out mechanics and learn. But the people that I went in with weren't interested in learning how to like actually do it, and were like saying, "Oh my god, this is super hard." And I'm just like, "Yes. That's why it's an ultimate." and
Yes,
not a
that's
savage.
the point of the content.
That's the point of the content. It's meant to be hard. I really liked T. When I went in, I really want to learn, like I want to do that fight. I liked doing Uwu. I do not want to go into UCOB again, but I will. Because I have a friend who wants to drag me through. And I'm just like, okay, you'll be my carry. But like there's so much content that I would like to do, but I want to make sure that I do it with a group that
You trust?
that I trust, that understands, and is able to be like, I understand, but let's do this.
I feel like for groups like that, you kind of need to like establish ground rules and like goals, because
Mhm.
if members have different goals in mind, there could very quickly become like a desynchronization within the group.
Yeah. Yeah, that was yeah, that's
A coordinated group versus just a bunch of randos for the purpose of doing the content.
yeah, or a group of friends wanting to do the content, but everybody has different layers of expectations.
Yeah, that's where things can definitely fall apart. As much as the group of friends you want to do the rating with, like
Mhm.
some people might be more casual, and it just,
Maybe, yeah.
or some people might be more hardcore. But then that's where kind of you can get into the toxicity of like certain raid groups, because some of those the hardcore people, it's like if you're not doing meta, and it's like it doesn't matter. You're just
If you're
weak in their eyes, basically.
If
you're not
you're
using ACT and Alexander and
Yeah, those are the toxic people.
those are the
But
toxic people, but there's
at the same time,
also
you don't have to be meta, but you have to be prepared.
you have to be
So
prepared.
also don't go into a raid with a PvP build or like a fun silly build for low level content that's just gonna you're too weak and don't have enough defense to keep yourself alive.
Mhm. AKA, if we're talking about Final Fantasy, making sure you're melded, fully melded.
Yeah.
God.
But that's a good example for Final Fantasy of like the difference between like there's like meta and then there's just being not prepared.
Yeah. I also will say, also know your rotation. That I understand that, you know, I don't pay your sub. However, if we're not meeting, and I feel like this is going to like come off as toxic, if we're not meeting the DPS check because you don't know the proper rotation for your class, read your tool tips. Look at a guide.
I feel like if
Yeah.
you're thinking of doing like harder content, you really should like actually know how to play your class.
Yeah.
Because if not, then you're just wasting people's time who are
Yeah.
actually serious about it.
I mean, that also goes in hand with healers should do damage.
Yes.
That to me is also like a crazy thing for WoW compared to Final Fantasy. For Final Fantasy, you want basically zero downtime of whatever class you are. So if everyone's healed up, you're doing damage. Whereas in World of Warcraft, if you have downtime because everyone's healed up, you're trying to get mana. You don't want to be spending your mana on offensive abilities, especially because in healer classes in World of Warcraft, the offensive abilities usually cost a shit ton more mana than if you're like a DPS class counterpart.
Mhm.
Yeah, coming from Star Wars Online, that was a game where the healers actually could do lots of damage. So I'm kind of used to like being a damage healer.
Mm-hmm. I remember there was, in World of Warcraft, there was one particular fight where you would basically become enhanced, and there was a specific healer that if you put shields on people and then did damage to a boss, percentage of that damage would apply to buffing the shields that had on the people. So you would give that healer that big buff, and so that healer not only is top DPS, but because they're enhanced and doing all that extra damage, everyone basically had an invincible shield on them. So it kind of became toxic that if you weren't bringing that specific healer to that fight, then like people would just leave the raid. But it was also fun to be that healer and be top healer and top DPS and just like basically soloing the fight.
I do remember I tried Priest and I didn't like it because like they had this channeling ability where like you get it really early on where you just click on a monster, press this button to channel like a ray of darkness or a ray of shadow or whatever, I forgot what it's called. And you just kind of like sit there and watch it as it ticks damage off.
Are
You
you
don't
talking for
actually press
Shadow?
any more buttons.
You're talking for World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
That'd be Shadow Priest, and the ability you're probably thinking of is Mind Play. So the thing with the Shadow Priest, especially when you get into the higher level, it's very much a like a dot damage over time. So you would load them up with dots, and then that's your filler while you're waiting for those dots need to be refreshed.
Yeah, like trying solo as a priest, I was just like, oh, this is agonizing.
Back when I was progressive rating, I was the second top Shadow Priest on the server that I was playing on. And I was third top Blood Death Knight.
Yeah, somebody told me, oh, you should have tried a druid instead, a healer druid, Moonkin or something.
Boomkin is DPS, healer druid is a tree. You're a tree.
Yeah, one of those.
Fucking Boomkin though.
But yeah, that was like the last time I tried. Wow, I was trying a priest. I was like, I really don't like this. You just press two buttons and you just sit there and wait.
It's definitely slow. Shadow Priest doesn't really amp up until like the later levels. It is really boring early on.
I guess that changes for each game though,
Yeah.
or each class even.
Yep. Very much so as well. I mean, you can say the same for other classes in even Final Fantasy. Like some people find the new Reaper class very boring because it's a very simple rotation, or even the Summoner rework when that first happened.
But summoner do big damage.
Actually, there was a
Summoner-
lot
Summoner
of
does-
upset
but
summoners.
it's also a really simple rotation for the amount of damage that you can deal.
The issue is summoners lost DPS when they reworked it.
Hmm.
Summoners used to be like the top DPS back in the day, and then they reworked it. And now they're like near the bottom.
I know for me, I'm definitely more a fan of the more complicated.
Except at level 70. For some reason, summoners at level 70 are just broken. If you look at the Uwu and UCOP like parses and leaderboards, all the top like 100 are all summoners.
I can believe it.
Yeah. They simplified Summoner.
But at max level, no. At max level, it's Monk, Black Mage, Samurai.
Samurai. I cannot do melees.
What?
I cannot do melee classes.
Um,
I like range. I like
I
being
learned-
far away.
I learned how to melee as a tank first, and then switched to DPS. There's a little bit more room for error as a tank.
Tank privileges.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can stand in an AoE once or twice and be fine as a tank.
Yes.
that's what you mean. Okay. I was like, really? I know I've only done Fizz Range or Healer. But yeah, that's like my extent of
I mean,
Of
not all
knowledge about-
AoEs give damage down. Sorry to interrupt.
but like that's about as much about my knowledge for reading. I know we were talking about PvE. I do want to say I do like crafting and gathering. At least in 14, I did not like it in like MapleStory or Mabinogi when I tried. It's a little too complicated for me, and I was not patient enough to learn how to do it.
I really enjoy the crafting system at Gathering in 14. It's very relaxing.
It is very relaxing.
There are some days where I just want to do nothing but sit there and craft. And so as far as my raiding experience, like I started raiding I think in probably Star Wars Online with that guild that I joined. And they brought me into some raids. And I was surprised by like how difficult it was at first. But like the drops like quickly got me addicted. So like after that, getting into 14, I started raiding back in Alexander. Like I was actually doing Alexander at release. Not the first section, but the last two sections I played at release as Bard or White Mage. That was also when I quickly realized that like if you don't know your full kit, people are gonna scold you. Like if you don't know to cleanse the warrior as a bard, that warrior may yell at you. Like all caps typing.
They don't count. They're not real people.
Yeah. I think that dude actually left the party, like after the 1 or 2 polls.
Online people are not real people.
But that also
Gotcha.
goes like the difference between like Party Finder and a static. Like Party Finder, people leave really, really quick.
Yes, yes they do.
But statics, on the other hand, it's hard to get everyone there at the same time consistently.
There's like pros and cons between those two. PF is not very consistent, but some those who are doing PF sometimes are serious to actually clear it, while static is like the same people each time, but then getting people together is like setting a schedule is the tough part.
Yeah. I will say about this is what one of my raider friends said about like in defense of PF, because they were commenting on what some of my other friends were talking about. The people in Party Finder, most likely they're not going to be in call with you in a Discord server. So they're just completely like cut off. So if you're not explaining in chat what needs to happen, then they have no idea. Even if they're like watching a guide or anything like that. So try to be a little bit more lenient with PF, because there, like Sakuno said, there are people who are being super serious in PF to like learn how to do the fight. And then there are others who are either they want specific things, like how you mentioned that one tank being like, you should be cleansing me. Or
that one's
other stuff.
toxic. But
Yeah.
if you're hopping into PF, you shouldn't be hopping in blind or expecting like a carry or a guide.
Yeah.
Like
You-
there is an
Well-
expectation in PF that you kinda are self-sufficient.
I mean, there are some PFs that are like specifically say blind run.
Either blind run or like
Right.
they are literally teaching or at a specific thing, which again, if you're going into PF, at least know, like, if you're like brand new, don't join like a group that's like 2 mechanics ahead of you or whatever. Like if you're brand new to a fight, go with like a brand new party, like learning party, not go into like someone who's about to clear. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Know
That
your
is-
limits. Play with them.
That is a quick way to also make a bad name for yourself.
Hmm.
In PF, there's a term that people use to describe somebody who goes into PF and makes a party and says they're at this point in the fight, and then you go in and nobody gets to that point, and they call it a trap party.
Mm-hmm.
As in, you're claiming that you're this good, but then you don't even make it that far,
Yeah.
and it traps people in the party, where like if they leave, they're gonna get a penalty because of the duty penalties.
Mm-hmm.
You said duty.
Yeah. So it kind of also like creates that a little bit toxic atmosphere where it's like you have to know what you're asking for. If you don't know like exactly where you are in the fight, if you put yourself too far ahead, or if you say you're like, oh, I'm ready for clear, and then die halfway into the fight, people get upset and they'll
Mhm.
remember your name.
You get blacklisted.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be kind of careful with that type of thing.
Also, I don't know if anyone ever got my reference, but there's a gambling like for like the government dictated or governed, or what's the word?
Government mandated?
Mandated. Thank you.
Huh?
The slogan is "Know your limits, play within it." So that was my reference.
Oh.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Gives us TED Talk.
Although some of my best memories are like doing extremes after getting to in-game. Like when Stormblood came out, they had Susanoo and Lakshmi as the extremes right off the bat, like right off the release. And learning Susanoo, I swear, was so much fun. I still just adore that fight so much. Because back in the day, that was like the first extreme that I really got to do at release.
Mhm.
I mean, I tried Savage content in Alexander before that, but by that time, there was like no more extremes that were like released newly, because it was more like established content at that point.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I still
Yeah.
love that fight though.
I feel that. I my first static that I was ever in, my friend who was the raid leader wanted to make sure that we were ready to do like not like on content, but like at level 80, like Shadowbringer stuff. So he forced us to do the Stormblood extremes, just to make sure like we could actually function as a group. We learned Susanoo and Suzaku and Seiryu synced, even though we could unsync it at level 80. But I still know how to do Suzaku to this day, and it was very, very, like, I'm appreciative of that experience because it kind of did like make everything easier later on.
And let's admit, it's kind of funny to watch people in extremes like not know what to do, like
Mhm.
like when you Leviathan, when people fall off the ship.
I still do that when I'm not paying attention.
Fun fact: you can actually rescue somebody who's about to fall off, and it will
If
save
you-
them.
If you time it right, yeah. I think my first extreme, it's not like current content, but it was a current expansion, was Shadowbringer's extremes.
Shadowbringer had really good extremes.
I liked Hades. Hades was a lot of fun.
Oh, I hated Hades. But I guess that was because I did that as a healer and
Oh.
I honestly wasn't a fan of Hades either. The amount of debuffs in that fight are
Yeah.
confusing.
it was awful. I'm so glad that when we cleared, the mount dropped and I got it. So I was like, bye guys, I'm out. Peace out.
I remember doing Innocence, Valtteri, whatever his name is.
Where if you get another
Innocent?
raid exotic from Destiny on your first try, I'm gonna be so upset.
That never
I-
happened to me, by the way.
No, you got Vex Mythoclast before many of us who has many clears.
But it wasn't my first time.
No, but that was like my 20th run. And it was like your second or fourth.
That
Yeah.
gun's been broken ever since Destiny 1.
Yikes. Sorry, Sakuno. I feel
That's
like I
okay.
cut you
That's
off.
okay. But yeah, I remember going into Valtteri's extreme, not knowing the fight is a super easy fight. I remember
Yeah.
going to first run, hella blind without anyone explaining the fight. I was just dying and shit. I got the mount on the first run. I'm like, okay, I guess this happened.
That was one that was the attacks that Vault 3 or Innocence does are very well telegraphed.
Yeah.
So it is totally one that you can just like walk in and clear in one go.
Mm-hmm. I think the second one I like was Seal of Sacrifice. More for like the difficulty of it.
I still don't know what to do. That one's still too hard, and you can unsync it.
I
Casual
remember a good
dumb.
chunk of it. Just it would take me a while for like the second half to remember like what does what. I cheese it, and hopefully I don't die.
Titania
No.
is also pretty fairly easy to like do.
Yeah, that one was really fun too.
It was fun
Yeah.
till you get sick of the song.
I love the song.
If you farm it enough times, you get sick of the song.
Yeah. Oh god, we did this was when Emerald Weapon was still on content. We did a run of Titania where it was like all dragoons, and I think we had one dancer. And we were able to clear it. Barely, but we cleared it.
That type of run is always fun. Like I've seen like people do like all healers on the alliance raids or all tanks and stuff like that.
Oh, those
I
are
remember
fun.
those. I remember
Those are always like the most ridiculous.
You just have to have that many people go along with it.
Yeah. 100% go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like back in the day, I remember like there was an all healer party that cleared Susanoo.
Love it.
Like at release too.
Damn.
I fucking Hawken did. Are you talking about the classic WoW AQ40, or did you do the actual AQ40, Hawken?
Oh gee.
For those who don't know, AQ is like Ironkind. Fuck, I don't remember the name, but it was a raid, a 40-man raid, and there was a big world event outside the raid when it was first getting like launched, and it was just like kill your computer frame stuttering, like server crashing amount of people in one area.
Mm.
Yeah, I can believe that.
It was a bad.
If anybody was playing at the release of Stormblood, there was a lot of moments where there was just like crowds of people just gathered around certain NPCs and stuff. Rabon Extreme. And like, yeah, as soon as you walk into those areas, it's like you know there's a lot of people there.
Mm-hmm.
Just no.
And the frame rate suddenly goes to like 10 or even lower. I can't really say much about WoW though.
I don't know much about WoW. Is Nia eating?
Gosh.
I can see your model mouth.
I'm sorry, I was hungry.
I was like, I was gonna ask if you were muted as you're trying to talk, but like I see your mouth, like your model's mouth moving, like you're eating.
Ultima Online was one that kind of like laid the groundwork for all like future MMORPGs. In Ultima Online, it was kind of set up where you could basically do anything. You can kill other players. You could steal from other players and stuff like that. I didn't really play it back in the day. I've heard stories.
Arn began in Ragnarok.
Yeah, that was one I played pretty early on too. I remember playing it in beta, and then they came out, and it was like, okay, we're gonna have a subscription service now. And I was like, well, I guess I'm done playing.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I'm the one who can speak to World of Warcraft. I used to do progressive raiding with like an actual like static raid team, and we would try and go for like. We never did like an official like world first because we knew we weren't good enough for world first, but we tried to go for server first for raid clears because even the server first had their own like rewards and like titles. And that was all during what would have been 2012, 2013 area, Cataclysm and Miss Pandaria. But I burnt myself out doing that. It became a job, basically, especially with all like the different dailies, and especially in World of Warcraft, where you have to do it on multiple different characters, not just the one character like in Final Fantasy. So it definitely very much became like a chore. And then I pretty much stopped playing after Miss Pandaria because I was like, I'm done with this. I cannot do this no more. But it was fun and very interesting to be part of like kind of something bigger than you and like your individual efforts, but also like reliant on you and your individual efforts. It's kind of weird to explain in a way. If that makes sense. It might not make sense.
No, it
Each
kind of
expansion
makes
became more
sense.
and more. Yeah, it kind of did become more and more about solo play.
There was another I played way back in the day. I'm sure that there's probably some other people who played this. I don't know about in here, but Perfect World back in the day, it was like a Korean grind MMO. But like they had like these realm versus realm raids where you can like get like a whole group of people from your guild and just go fight another guild. And you could actually get like different regions of the map in your like guild's name, and like they would give you a little bit of gold, like a sales tax from every like transaction that people do for the vendors there. So if they go and sell like a bunch of like useless drops that they got from hunting monsters, if you own that region for your guild would get a portion of that in sales tax.
That sounds like something that they tried for New World, but it was completely failed in New World.
Perfect World is still running to this day, though it's not quite what it was. Not quite what it was back then.
Also, in response to Hawkins' comment, I'd beg to argue because it doesn't matter if you literally killed gods. The next expansion, all of a sudden you're a bootlicker, like guard again, trying to join the next expedition force.
Oh.
And then like you finish the expansion of like being an old god slayer, and then all of a sudden the next expansion is like, who is this cretin in my ranks? And it's like, oh, fuck off.
That also like draws an interesting correlation with like Final Fantasy, where you get different dialogue depending on what you actually do prior in the game. I love that type of thing, like where
Yeah, that's
NPCs
cool.
will actually reference things that you've done rather than just give everyone the same set of dialogue.
Your own and like achievements.
It is very fun. That just reminded me of for the last tier of the Eden raids in 14. While you're doing like the normal version, not like the savage, um, when you're going through the quest, like the storyline for it, um, for E10, there's like a dialogue choice. So if you had leveled up at least one of each class, like role, like you had a tank, you had a healer, you had a range and a melee. If you had done all of your role quests and did like the like side quests for the role quests, like to like figure like get more lore, it allowed you in the raid quest line to actually select a specific dialogue option when it came up to that, where it was like, but this was this person.
I
No.
love that type of thing.
I think it's cool because not everybody gets that option, because not everybody actually was able to like get one of each of those roles up in time for like that release. But I got it and I was like, oh, yes, I can choose this.
There's also a flip side of that where NPCs in certain games may change their dialogue. This happens a lot of Elder Scrolls, depending on your race. Like, they may be racist against you if you're the wrong race. They may
That
not
sounds
like you.
racist.
Yeah, they may not like you if you're the wrong race. Like dark elves and high elves, they don't get along. At least not in Elder Scrolls. But then again, high elves kind of hate everyone.
No one's safe.
And that type of like, I guess it's world building, where it just makes you feel more in the world rather than a bystander. A bystander. It makes your choices matter, and I think that's the important part. Because if you feel like your choices in the game don't matter, then it's just like, are you gonna care that much? Probably not. And that's probably why like some of those games that have forgettable stories is because it's the same story no matter which character or what you do in game. I mean, that's not true for all the games, but yeah.
Yeah. Right. It is starting to get late. We're barely halfway through this. We're slightly over halfway through our questions.
We kind of, we've talked so much about rating.
We talked a lot about rating and like a couple of other ones.
Let's go on to the next one.
Yeah,
Because it's getting kind of late.
it is very late. So has anyone ran a guild or a community in an MMORPG?
Nope.
I led two of the biggest guilds on our server in 14 with a few friends. I put my life into those FCs. Like there was definitely moments that I really enjoyed, but like the drama that ends up eventually becoming FCs can be
appears.
a little alarming sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot run from it.
Can't
I haven't been the creator, but I have helped run guilds and like FCs and that kind of thing.
Like the first FC that I made was basically stolen from me.
Oh no.
It was
Thief.
basically stolen from me, and then like I went and grabbed everything out of the FC chests and was like, okay, we gotta have a meeting. We gotta have a meeting. I'll give all this back. Just we need to talk. And then I got branded a thief and kicked out of the guild. Even though I was like one of the leaders.
Oh no.
So I just was like, okay, I'm gonna take all the money in the FC chest and I'm gonna go buy my own FC with blackjack and hookers.
I've been on the other end of that where it was more of a tyrant type that was the FC leader, and they basically were treating the guild as like their own like personal bank and stuff, and we were just there to help like be a part of it. So like I think what really drew the straw and kind of like started the mutiny was in World of Warcraft. You can choose the loot table rules. So similar to like Final Fantasy, where you can like roll, there can be master looter. So what they did one raid is they turned on the master looter for them to hand out the rolls, and they just gave all the good stuff to their wife and then kept the mount that dropped that everyone was going after. And if I swear, if it was in person, the guy would have been dead.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
he
them
basically
fighting.
started a riot over the VC. Like, people were yelling at him, being like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Hmm.
There was also a big story. This wasn't a guild I was in, but it was on my server. There was this giant guild called Hyrule or something. It was like a Zelda based FC where like everybody was doing like Zelda cosplay in it. And the guy who was running this guild, what he did is like 2 years into the FC, he just took all the money and gil from the FC chest, disbanded the guild, and jumped servers.
Oh my
Yikes.
god.
This was quite
He
a
went
big
full
thing.
scumlord.
Yeah, like everybody heard about it on the server. Everybody knew.
Oh god.
Yeah, you don't come back from that.
No.
I'm sure he probably name changed too. Just
Yeah,
trying to-
but if you knew what that person's name was, you can still find what their new name is on
Mhm, mhm.
on
The lodestone.
Lodestone, yeah.
Yeah.
That's also like one part of Final Fantasy that like it could probably do a little bit better because you can kind of stalk people using the lodestone.
Yeah, which I don't like that. Sakuno, do you have anything to say about this topic?
Not really.
When you change your name in Final Fantasy 14, it doesn't change your URL number on the lodestone. So like even though you may have a different name, your URL for your lodestone character will be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never ran a guild or a
Go-
community, so I don't have much to say with this.
Okay. I
Next topic, same.
I never have I never like created my own guild. I now own an FC and it's kind of freaking me out because I literally have no idea what I'm doing. But the majority of the people who are a part of it now are people that I trust that are part of my streaming community or have been friends that I've known for a very long time. So I think it's pretty good. There were other communities, which was a very big community Discord server for 14 that ended up very toxic and getting deleted because of the person who ran it being weird about people. That's all I'm going to say as of right now. Next topic. So next we have roleplay in an MMORPG.
Oh, you can keep talking on this.
Oh, am I the only one?
No.
I've
Okay.
always been a part of like the like rating or like more content related activities and community stuff. I've never really roleplayed, and I think I even said to you guys like I haven't even done any like clubbing in Final Fantasy.
Same here. I don't have much to say on this topic.
roleplay has always been like kind of a guilty pleasure to me. I don't know where it comes from. Like way back in the day when I played Star Wars on the PvP RP server, I was just amazed by like how much effort people put into their characters. And that really inspired me to like keep that going. But then like later on in like Final Fantasy stuff, like it doesn't happen that much other than like I don't know, when you're really trying to like role playing is kind of weird in that way. Yeah, like you said, even going to clubs can be considered role play. Like going to the different player houses that are clubs and venues and DJs. That's basically role playing. You're role playing as your character. But I have danced at venues and gotten paid for it, like role play dance.
Me too.
Completely RP.
I mean, the closest I guess would be RP would be with Sage a few times, but like it's just like us acting like a couple in game. I don't know. I don't think that would be considered roleplay.
Would the marriage thing in Final Fantasy be considered roleplay?
It depends
be.
on it. Yeah, it could be. It depends on like how both people feel about it. There are some people who get married in game for roleplay purposes. Majority of the time, I feel like it's more of, hey,
Give me that mount.
Give me that mount. Give me these items.
I know people who just got married just for like the ring to teleport.
Yeah, the ring too.
Yeah, the ring is super useful. Free teleport.
Mhm.
It is.
In World of Warcraft, your recruiter friend person basically got that same ability of like the being able to teleport to your friend. But it was through the recruiter friend.
Gotcha.
At first, it was a once every 12 hours cooldown, but the longer that you say sub, that was one of the rewards, is that cooldown went down to like half an hour. But yeah, 12-hour cooldown to teleport your friend. God damn. Better choose wisely.
There's also the point that like, a lot of people may meet their partner in game, and the eternal bonding ceremony becomes much more sentimental at that point. Like I met my partner in game. That was one thing that like really meant a lot to me back in the day. I don't know. It's weird looking back at it. I feel kind of weird talking about it.
No, I've made lots of good friendships through like MMOs and stuff. Honestly, most of like my streamer friends and all that was because of MMOs and like Final Fantasy.
So it's like,
Same.
at what point does roleplay become real life?
I think when it
When
stops being
the roles
roleplay.
aren't.
when you stop like, you know, role playing or quote unquote acting, and actually like getting to know that other person as like an actual person.
I'm sorry to break it to you, I'm not actually a goose.
Oh, I feel lied to.
The immersion has been broken.
I don't think it was a lie. I'll be honest.
Are we still talking about roleplay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. I've only
it was Tally's
ever...
turn to talk.
Oh.
Man, I said a lot. And I pretty much said what I wanted to on RP.
Tally's done their turn.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of like RP that goes into like clubbing, whether you're like dancing or even like the bartenders. It's amazing how much the bartenders will get into it. They'll write like paragraphs on just like serving you a drink.
Yeah, that
You're
That
getting
was-
into character.
That's kind of what I miss a little bit about like RP. I will say it's not. It's very role playing in 14 at least is very popular on Crystal. It's very big. Like everybody out in the world is doing some version of RP, or they're just like hanging out with people. And you don't really see that on other servers, which kind of makes me a little bit sad because I thought it was pretty cool. Because there's been like some moments that I was on Crystal and like I got snippets of like someone's like nice like RP like lore, well, not really lore, but like world accurate to like what was actually going on in like that moment. It like that's pretty cool. So yeah, majority of my knowledge is like the club and the venues, and there's still like there's so much drama once you like do a huge deep dive into it. On the surface it looks nice, it's cool to hang out at. It's nice to like role play, but the more, again, similar to like a lot of things, there is still toxicity even in that.
Yeah. Like
So
it
just-
doesn't all have to be sexual.
Yeah.
No.
Oh no, I was there's like a lot of other stuff. It's not like just like sexual content. It's people having a monopoly on RP venues and all this other stuff. And if you're not one of us, then we're going to destroy you. Which is why when we mentioned the billboard, that was a huge like big debacle that happened, that majority of people in the RP community were like, what the fuck?
You know, like the silliest part is if they weren't wearing a modded top, it probably wouldn't have been as much of a debacle.
Yeah. It wasn't
I
just
find-
it wasn't just the top, it was everything. Everything was modded.
RPing in Final Fantasy definitely seems a lot more like broad and more broadly accepted compared to like World of Warcraft. Because even if it's not like the legendary like ERPing of like Goldshire, if you're just doing like regular role playing in World of Warcraft, people just think it's cringe. Like trying to be that like paladin.
And cringe is the new cool.
But like that's the weird like difference is like in Final Fantasy, it's not really considered as cringe to be just normal casual like role playing, like clubbing or like that kind of thing.
It kind of like is a level of immersion that you're like putting effort into. It's like the game can only be so immersive, but if you role play into that, you can make the game even more immersive, you know? I guess that's a weird way to say it.
Mm-hmm. No, I get what you're saying.
Like putting your character in the world and like giving them reasons to be in that world, rather than just I'm playing this character. I don't know why they're here. They're just my character. They look pretty.
Pretty.
I like the way they look.
They look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like one thing I did for Final Fantasy was like look up like naming conventions and stuff like that. Like certain races will have certain types of names, like Mikotes tend to have like an apostrophe in their name.
That is only
Mhm.
for
Cat
seekers.
Boys. Or is it Seekers?
It's only for seekers. For
Nerd.
For keepers, pretty much the females get named whatever, and then the boys have a variant of their mother's name, but they do an apostrophe, and then the last letter is like A or B or C. Pretty much you go through the entire alphabet if you're a male keeper. But you have a variant of your mother's name. Mother's first name. Sorry.
This is actually something I did for my like character back in the day, but then I realized, oh wait, they don't do that for girl characters or moon keepers. So it was like I name changed and then instantly regret it because it's not lore appropriate.
Oh no.
So for World of Warcraft, because every single character needs its own name, because the names get taken, and you like to have it like every single class you need like 10 different characters. So I came up with a naming convention. So everything would be Zooey's like ZUI, and then some sort of like food.
You mean your name was XX Goose XXXL?
No. Originally it was sauces, but then I stopped coming up with a good idea for sauces, so I just kind of food. So I had like Zooey Sriracha, Zooey Mayo, Zooey Mustard, Zooey Alfredo. Like it was just Zooey food, and it worked really well because I always could like guarantee having a name with Zooey something. So when I was like in a clan or a guild, and they like looked at the members list, anything that started with Zooey, you know, were my characters. So if you saw any sort of Zooey online, you knew it was me. You didn't have to like memorize like who that one person was and all their different alts.
That's also probably a good way to like distinguish between people who are role playing if they have lore appropriate names, or people who are just like some fuck 187.
Some fuck.
Some fuck.
Some fuck 420. Let's go.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, those types of names, they break your immersion. You see them and you're like, that's kind of weird. That's funny. It's kind of amusing.
Mewing cat scene.
But yeah, names mean a lot in games like these.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Continuing on. Failed MMORPGs. I think we kind of mentioned a few earlier where
Matrix Online.
yeah, Maple Story 2.
Yeah, it's like we have a list. Phantasy Star, Wildstar, New World, Age of Conan.
Conan?
I don't care.
Go on.
I'm tired.
Oh.
We're almost done.
Fight me.
You're too far over there.
Nia, fight me. I know you want to.
I'm like, now? Right now? Hold on, I
you
have to
want.
get
There's-
upset with you. Like I was earlier when I was confused.
Y'all gonna have to take this outside.
I didn't even try.
I know
was
you
your
weren't
own
even
fault.
trying, and I was just like, excuse you?
Wait, are we outside?
We're technically outside. If we look at the background, we're technically outside.
Technically outside.
We're touching grass.
Yeah. Do we want to say anything else about failed MMORPGs?
Not really.
I-
Aside from the
I
fact that I want
They
Maple
failed.
Story to could have been better, could have stayed.
You're failures.
I don't know. I feel like everybody that I knew who played it really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
So I don't understand how it failed. I don't know, like,
I don't think I think people
Why?
enjoyed it, but I think not a lot of people played it. Like I played it, but not for. I keep forgetting to go back to it.
Hey, here's one thing that I think may have cause some other games. It definitely did it for Matrix Online, where it was like at release, yeah, there's a game, but there's no in-game. It's like
No,
once people get up to in-game, there's nothing for them to do, so people stop playing.
but
I didn't really play Maple Story 2 enough to really understand why it failed. I just played like the early to mid game and then kind of just stopped playing myself. But that was also because it was just like, hey, let's try this new thing versus like, let's have a new game that's more than what we're already playing.
I guess for me, because I was so active on there, I saw so many people who were playing. Either they were like brand new, starting, or they were already had gone through everything and they were just chilling on like the stage and playing music. Um, I think that's the reason why I'm so baffled is because it wasn't like a lack of players. There were always so many people online and they were all doing like, I guess, some quote unquote something, whether if it was you were at the concert hall like watching people perform quote unquote perform music for everyone, or like they were chilling and talking in like the main city. I guess that's the reason why I'm so baffled, where it's like, why did this quote unquote fail? Did it really fail, or was it just Nexon saying it failed so
It
that
di-
way they didn't have to like continue it?
It didn't make it to their quota amount of dollars made.
Yeah.
There's also some
All about stonks.
one game
Stonks.
that I played back in the day, or not Elder Scrolls, Lord of the Rings Online. That was one that had a really good RP scene too. Like you would walk into the tavern and there'd be like people playing music, like other players. It was kind of cool to like immerse yourself into that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I feel like as a game, it didn't do that great.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think it still might be running. I don't know, but the player base is definitely very small.
Mapinogi is kind of was pretty similar from what I have seen and heard from, where the RP was great if you were into RP, but with it, being like a very limited like player base at the moment, where it's like not that many people are playing now. It seems like it kind of failed, but it's also a really old game. Not a really old game, but an old game nonetheless.
I know I was excited for New World when it was development, but after like seeing it's like I was skeptical the closer it got to release, hearing some of like the early access like problems as they got closer. I was like, wait, these still aren't fixed. So I'm glad that I hesitated because they never fixed the problems that the community was like, hey, these are issues. And then it died.
It was also delayed.
That was the part of what like made me like not pre-order, is because even though it was delayed, they like, what was the point of it? They didn't fix the problems.
Yikes.
Why delay?
Maybe all they can do is try, or maybe they didn't care.
I think they didn't care.
I think it might have been a
I think
release thing. Maybe something else was releasing at the original time that they were supposed to release.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
either that or the
Dawn
actual
Trail
like,
releasing a week later because of Elden Ring.
or the actual like development team's hands are being forced by the publishing company, being Amazon Games.
That too. Like management matters a lot in these games.
Mm-hmm.
You mean mismanagement? Oi, 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 oi.
That too. At least for the failed ones.
Hoi, 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 hoi.
Hoi, hoi, hoi.
Hoi, hoi.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
Last
And-
question.
Answer daily double.
Last one. What world or series do you wish was an MMORPG?
None of them. Good night.
Uh, maybe my brain just went to Pokemon.
God.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like Sakuno's brain stalled.
I can't think of anything else except for Pokemon.
You
Like
know. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
You go ahead.
Like a true, like a real, like a legitimate Pokemon MMO, but I doubt Nintendo would ever do that, or Game Freak for that matter.
If that ever happens, don't let Game Freak make it, because they make shit games. I swear to God, I will die on this hill.
You know, when I suggested this question, I had something in mind.
You forgot.
Now I can't think of it.
Um, I'm trying
I'm
to
sure the
think.
classic answers would be like the what's it, isekai animes and stuff. So like the where like you die and get resurrected into like a video game, or like vice versa, where it's just like another like fantasy realm.
Yeah.
Because it also doesn't have to be another game that gets turned into MMO. It could be other like pop culture media too.
TV
Oh, that's
show,
what- yeah.
anime,
A
movie.
movie or like a series or a book.
I'm trying to think of like what I think would be cool. I do like the idea of like a Pokemon one, like a true one. Feel like a Digimon one would be cool. Me slowly opening up my Steam to look at video games.
That's fine. Yeah, I was thinking of Digimon
It's-
too.
It's kind of hard because some like game formats like it works because of the genre that they're in.
Yeah.
And like its own like capabilities and like limitations. Like imagine if like even like Minecraft or like Core Keeper, like yes, it's like infinite generation, but having that like be it like that just it would just be a different game at that point.
like I
Mhm.
wouldn't want that. I think I would want like, oh god.
It's not infinite though. There's a limit. There's always a
There's
limit.
limits.
Yeah.
I would say
Theoretical limit.
I just saw this. Like, I think a like actual Dragon Age MMO would be nice. You know, one that's not made by BioWare.
I really enjoyed Origins,
Anthem.
and then just went downhill from Origins.
I actually really liked Inquisition, but that was also my first game.
I've heard good things about Inquisition. I feel like that was the one where they tried to like go back to their roots and do it like Origins.
Mhm. I guess for like I don't really have like a specific like world in mind, but I do know like a vibe that I would want where it's like kind of like an isekai, but like you still have like quote unquote real world like stuff to never mind, I'm sorry. I changed my mind. I changed my mind. I backpedaled because I was like I would like a magical girl MMORPG, please.
I could get
Like-
into that.
Like
Yes,
a true
I-
Now
one.
what kind? Like Like
Sailor
Madoka
Moon?
Magical Girl or like
No,
Sailor Moon Magical Girl?
definitely not Madoka Magica.
What about
Definitely
Magical
not.
Girl Apocalypse?
Oh god.
Cause it into the world.
Oh no.
You signed a
absolutely
contract.
not. I would say something like Sailor Moon or like Tokyo Mew Mew, something like that.
What the fuck? Tokyo
Oh, it's another magical.
It's a magical girl. I don't
It's
know.
Never heard of that one.
it's the one that I absolutely love and created my entire like obsession with cat girls. So or wanting to be a cat girl.
So
Specifically.
it's basically 5 girls who got infused with animal genes,
Oh.
blood, whatever,
and they have
they
magic.
They can transfer. They have the what is it called? The traits of those animals, but
Sorry.
and then they can transform into like those animals, like not like an actual like cat, but cat like features.
I posted it's pretty much you have your kimono Mimi, like there's a cat girl, there's a wolf girl, there's a monkey girl, there's a bird girl, there's a manatee.
She's not a manatee.
I think that would be nice,
Fuck off.
but I again kind of going back to what I originally started to say, and I think this is the reason why I think a Digimon MMO would be really good.
You know what? It would be awesome. It would be like for Frontier, like that season where you can transform into Digimon.
See, I was gonna say like the very first one where you're in like the digital world and then you have like IRL, like quote unquote IRL, where it's like your normal life stuff, like the craziness that happens like halfway through the series. Oh, well, that season, I guess.
I mean, both
Like I
seasons,
want stuff like that.
all of them have like it starts off in the digital world, and then it gets chaotic in the real world.
Hmm.
A lot of them are like that. Second, like third one, not so much, or kind of.
Well, the third one, they're like specifically in the
uh,
real world,
yeah.
right? And that
They do end up going to the digital world at one point, but
I feel
majority of the time it's like the real world.
yeah, I was about to say, isn't it majority in like the real world?
Yeah. And then fourth season is like their majority of it is in digital world. It's only until the end. It's like a bit of it is in the real world, but like
And that's the magical girl transformation one, right? Or is that something different? Is that a different season?
would it be magical girl transformation? They basically they fuse with Digimon. If you call it magical girl, sure.
They transform into Digimon. That's pretty magical girl to me. They have transformations.
I
They have
guess
transformation
they
animation.
become
Okay.
Digimon.
Yeah, but it's same
I mean, yeah, I guess.
One I would really like if there was a dot hack MMO. Like,
Oh.
I know it's a game that's supposed to emulate an MMO, but if they actually made a dot hack MMO, I would eat that shit up. Especially if they like made like tons of references and brought in old characters and stuff. I would love that. I would love that. Dog hack was such like part of my childhood.
Yeah, that's where I was saying like the classic like isekai kind of thing, because like even Overlord, with how like your clan or like your guild has like a dungeon that like other people could like siege. That seems like such a cool like MMO idea to me.
It does sound kind of cool.
Like your guild and your community can be like its own like raid, and you're the raid bosses.
That was a kind of a cool part of Overlord when the heroes attacked their camp or dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say too much more than that, because spoilers.
It's a cool concept that I think would be successful in MMO space,
Mm-hmm.
or at least it would be something like worth for MMO to try.
Also, like, what if there was like a Mashal MMO? Have you guys seen that that anime?
No. I just-
Huh?
You haven't watched Mashal? I would definitely recommend it.
Do you know the song Bling Bling Born?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
If you haven't, you live under a rock.
Isn't that the song that Aura made a dance for us?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I guess another one that I would enjoy this, a Fire Emblem MMO. I think that would
Oh,
be
that would be a
cool.
good one. Yeah.
That would be interesting. How would they do that as an MMO though? Because the whole point of Fire Emblem is like controlling like a bunch of different like characters. Would you have like a roster and you're like kind of like the new Fire Emblem where how would that work?
I would say more of like I was thinking more of like you pick what class you want.
And you
So
control one.
unfortunately, yeah, you have one character, but you get to pick what class you want. Kind of similar to like what you normally are able to, where like you can reclass at like any moment on that same character, but you have to start from like level 1 again, but still same character.
There was actually a game called Wakfu, I believe, that is set up in that like tactical style,
Mm.
where it's like you take a turn and then somebody else takes a turn and then you take a turn, etc.
Mhm.
Stop being weird.
Where it's like you got little squares that you move on and you can face certain directions, and if you walk around behind somebody you get an increased like accuracy, that type of thing.
Ooh, that sounds cool. Listen, I really want a Fire Emblem MMO just so I can be a Dark Flyer. I think that would be fantastic. It's so great.
It also doesn't have to be like full like other players. Like there's games like Star Wars Online where it's like you have your own band of like adventurers that you bring on your ship with you,
Hmm.
like your companions basically.
Like you could do that. I was thinking kind of similar to like how 14, like the trust system that you have, where like you do have like quote unquote NPCs that you can take with you into like dungeons and content, but you're not really controlling them. Or you can play with other other player characters.
I could see that being a thing.
Yeah. Just being able to like opt for all of the different classes, like every single class, or spec into them with specific like materials or items. Like how Kuni mentioned wanting to be a maid. Maid goes hard. Maid butler. Awesome. Well, perfect.
A Black Butler MMO.
Okay.
There's also just a lot of cool classes in Fire Emblem.
Hmm.
Like there's ninjas, there's dragon riders, there's Pegasus riders.
Yeah, that's why I'm like Dark Flyer. Dark Flyer is you're a Pegasus rider with a black Pegasus, and you can do magic instead of wielding a lance or polearm. Sorry.
It's
Got
also
out.
fun for like characters that like break out of their cookie cutter class type.
Mhm.
Like in a lot of the later Fire Emblem games, they kind of have characters that are like, this may be a flyer, but they can also do magic.
Mhm.
I wonder if it would be interesting to do like a Full Metal Alchemist like MMO, where you can like choose your like kind of alchemy to like specialize in, and that will be like kind of your class.
That could
So
be
you know how
cool.
there's like the flame alchemist and like the ice alchemist and like all that kind of thing.
That could be really cool, yeah. Would it be like classes, or would it be like you can study in whichever school of alchemy that you want?
I feel like for in like terms of balancing, it would be like a specialization. So you would like focus into like almost like maybe a talent tree.
I could see
Because
that
like
working out.
within like the lore of the universe kind of thing, like yes, they can do other alchemy, but they have like studied a one specific thing that they have like mastered in. Chow Tucker could be a raid boss.
Can we get a Naruto RP or MMO? I want to be a ninja.
I thought there was one.
Is there? I thought there
Well,
was.
there's fighter game ones. I don't think there's like a MMO one.
Hold
But
on.
okay, sorry,
There was one that was
MMORPG.
like
But
an RPG where you
Yeah,
play as
there's,
Naruto
like-
through his life.
similar to like other like fighting games, like there is online multiplayer where you can like still fight other people and stuff. But
Hold on.
I'm holding.
Oh, I'm gonna drop stuff. Is this it?
Also, on the Fire Emblem one, there was one MMO I played back in the day where it's like you got like this kingdom, and it was like a giant map, and they would just randomly put your kingdom somewhere on the map, and it was basically like a RTS, but like the map had like randomly placed players all over the place. So it was kind of like an interesting way to like do like combat versus other players, because like it's like kingdom versus kingdom, but it's an MMO, and you're like doing a real-time strategy. They could probably do something like that for Fire Emblem. But I would really love a Dark Hack MMO. That's my sheet
Oh.
right there.
I was
Now, how
think-
about Sword Art Online?
Yeah.
don't they? I thought they already had.
Kind of,
Again,
sort
not
of.
as an MMO.
Kinda, sorta. Yeah, the Naruto one that I was thinking of is Shinobi Striker, which I guess it falls under that pseudo MMO, but it's not MMORPG.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's as much MMO as Call of Duty is or Street Fighter.
Mm,
There's also a few like old school RPGs that I would love in MMO form, like I don't know, Chrono Trigger or something.
Any last words for this topic?
Make it happen, game companies.
Make
But
it
do it good.
happen. Do it well.
The problem when it comes to a lot of like anime adaptations when it comes to games is that they try to recreate the anime instead of trying to create something within that universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where they fall flat.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like you kind of need an established world for an MMO.
Yeah.
Or be willing to create one.
Are we? I don't know shit. I'm not game dev. I'm too stupid.
No, I was more so talking about for like game devs of like you either have an established world or you are able to like fully create one that makes sense.
Live long enough to become the villain.
Also, unpopular opinion. I would love a Homestuck MMO.
What?
Homestuck.
Homestuck.
What's Homestuck?
It's a web series or web novel, comic.
I would say comic. But I don't know too much about it.
But they have a very
Yeah, I thought you said
like,
home
established-
suck, so I was like,
They have
What?
a very established world where there's like already classes and elements and stuff like that already like built out. Another one that would be cool. What if there was like a near anime where you get to play as like an android?
there is a near anime.
Or I meant to say MMO.
Okay.
No.
I was gonna say there is a near anime in development.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
It was benched for a bit, but they actually are working on it again.
Okay. Because I'm like, they did come out with the first season.
Yeah, the first season is pretty good.
Yeah, the second season got like benched, but they've announced that they're working on it again now.
It is getting late.
Yeah. No, it's super late already. For,
What is
like,
sleep?
Something that Goose needs.
Goose
I'll
does need
just
that.
I'll just get more sick and I'll call into work tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. I just not give me a
That's
Fire Emblem.
No,
Give me a Fire
not,
Emblem
no.
MMO that allows me to like customize my own character. I can have a base / a house. I can get pretty armors. I can get favorite classes, etc. Give me that. Gimme.
Give me more. Give me more.
Yeah, I think like that's a good stopping point for the podcast. Cause for me, I'm starting to zone out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I pretty much said everything I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Woo, we made it through it.
Woohoo!
I did not think we were gonna be going
Talking
this
as
long.
long as we did.
Yippee! I think the other podcast ran like 4 hours. So this is actually shorter than the other ones.
No,
Well, we usually
I-
end like half an hour earlier.
yeah, we usually
This is,
end.
this is definitely a longer one.
The longest one we've done is the New Year Christmas one because we did put together 2 topics in one. That was our longest one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I misremember.
You're fine.
I'm going off based off like the time that I usually go to bed after these.
Maybe it just felt like longer because I was anxious.
I think it, yeah. Well, this one, I feel like it feels like it was longer, but I think it's also because we started a little bit later.
We started on time. What do you mean?
Did we start on time?
We started on
Yeah.
time.
We started on time today.
We're on point today.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Who shall we
Anyway.
raid?
I don't know. That's up to you guys. I did my intro. I did the intro. Yeah.
Good, grab the. You've been stung. I don't know. Who do we want? Do we want to support an old guest that's been on our channel? Do we want to?
Well,
I don't know if anyone
neither of them are
Guys are
on.
offline.
Both
Well,
games are offline.
Look, I'm not. I don't.
I was thinking of rating Libra
Nom nom.
because he
Yeah.
popped
That-
in
that
while he's
sounds
streaming.
a good choice.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So here is the podcast related raid message. And we will
Hey, Libra. I cannot type his name.
2 eyes. RG.
RG.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you everyone who came and hung out and listened to us ramble about MMORPGs.
Yeah.
Been stung.
You've been stung.
Yes.
We will see you guys next month.
What is next? It was like vacation travel, right?
Yeah, we were gonna be
Do you-
talking about
do you-
traveling
you
and
have the-
vacation.
It's on the Google Doc.
Yeah.
I don't have it open. I have Libra stream open at the moment.
Did you like close out of it? Have you just
No.
been running?
No, I had a tab. I switched tabs.
Oh boy, I love traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've lived on both sides of the U.S., both coasts, east, west, and right in the middle.
Nice. Yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and we'll catch you guys on the next podcast. Bye bye.
Bye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night night.
Suffer.
Thank you.